Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some WARNO League action. And today we have a lot of Division 1 games coming your way, guys, because we're at the end of week 2, but we haven't had enough time here to cast WARNO League over the last couple of days, as I got sick, and Chloride was busy moving places and getting his internet back up, but he got that now, so Chloride is back, guys.
Hello, everybody. It is unfortunately the best time of the year. The birds are singing, the wind is light, and you can go outside with a t shirt. This is very rare in Finland, so I gotta grasp it while I can.
Yeah, and we are here starting in Group B today, as we have four pretty strong players in there, all with good history in the past. Static, Honeykumis, aka Bubblegum, Golden Panzer, and Dark Neutron. It's our Eastern group with the Oceanian players here with Dark Neutron, and then three players from the Asian continent with Static, Golden Panzer, and Honeykumis, Scuff, Bubblegum, whatever name you know him by. He is one of our top players. He made it to the finals last season. Static made it really far as well. Golden Panzer ruled Division 2 once and is now pretty strong in Division 1 as well. And Dark Neutron got pretty deep in the past as well. So it's going to be a tough group to make it out. And the matchup we have here is two meta divisions sludging it out as well. And luckily for us, the meta hasn't changed much. So we can go on with what we did in Division 3, Season 3, and talk about what's going on here.
Yeah, so this is Death Row, which is one of the simplest maps in the game. It is the best simple map, I believe, way better than Do Lakes. And this is a map traditionally played with either a quick attack rush into the enemy 2-point zones on the southern side, or with a kind of a tank build-up, or alternatively a tank all in on the middle plateau where you can fight and gain some kills early on and secure positions that are just going to be very difficult to get rid of if the enemy trades badly against a number of expensive units. Now, both of these divisions, both 5th Panzer and 20th Panzerna, are divisions that excel in building up the tank fighting tank forces earlier than others. They both have excellent recon with the Rospecialny and the Ferenc respectively, as well as mechanized recon. A big difference here in the opener we're seeing is that Golden Panzer is going to rely on a single Leopard 2 leader, which is not going to even try to get onto the plateau, and with a second Leopard with a Leopard 1 support tank going down south. Though this might actually be kind of a soft defense on the plateau, hoping not being willing to immediately contest against the numbers of T-72s. In the long term, the West German tanks are way better, but in the early game, the T-72s can beat the Leopard 1s and are cheap enough to mass.
Yes, 145 points here. We see the classic T72M without smoke and the one with smoke coming in here, the M1 variant. So it's a mix there, it's using the cost efficiency of the smokeless one. And the Ross Specialties here, as per usual, running in deep. We see a Mi-2 US here with PKT guns running around as well. That one can shoot down other recon helicopters, so the Alouettes will have to dodge around it. As per usual, a skiffic opener here from Golden Panzer with two Alouettes moving around, getting recon as well. But yeah, the Ross Specialties taking a lot of ground here early on. Fanchbears in defensive positions, but it's gonna be interesting to see if maybe the Leo 2A3s can use their higher speed and their higher ranges here efficiently to move around the T-72 blob, or if that just can crash through the German early on.
Yeah, the Honker Rus like a speed advantage is used to maximum effect here. These are very daring deployments all across the board. The 50 cals with the Honkers, as well as the veterancy and special forces trait, makes them pretty capable at fighting early on and suppressing enemy infantry and light vehicles. Even if the Rospecialny are only 4-man squads, they do have the RPG-7 VLs with 18 penetration, better than most Polish units, and that is more than enough area denial against the in the early game here. There's an AT plane up here, which is a natural buy if you're going to do a mass recon opener, and even secondary recon with the BMP-1s behind the Honkers in case there was an actual counterattack from Golden Panzer. That's pretty smart. You don't want to start challenging the enemy blob with just a single recon unit, because otherwise, if you lose that single recon unit, you're going to have to wait for a new one before you can actually do something. Just good standard play here coming from Honeycomb. And meanwhile, Golden Panzer's forces are kind of converging here around the Rospecialny, not wanting to show themselves necessarily, and probably having heard already of the Syria 3080 plane going out there. Losing a Leopard 2 in the opener here, even before the tanks start fighting each other, would be a huge loss.
Yes, the Leos now engaged the Rospecialny. The acid is coming around, but they get the kill before it can spot, and the Roland and the Gepard able to open up fire. The Roland likely gonna push the Syria back, but not able to hit it there. So at least it's gonna be out for a minute or two. So that might allow the Leos now on the ground to get into the fight with the T-72s. There are 2 Leo 2s, 1 Leo 1 against the T-72s pushing forward. And that, with the recon advantage currently in favor of Golden Panzer, could lead to first shot advantage and some damage here, but he's not engaging them right now. I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
There's an AT plane coming and diving in with the 2 cubes.
The 2 cubes get the snipe immediately. The Leos could come around here for some good shots, though. The Pioneer Carl Gustav got a nice side shot. Good hit now against the T-72 M1D, and the smoke comes out as the Leos try to push forward, but smoke is blocking them. And the second Leo 2A3 currently moving around. Golden Panzer playing a bit too slow on the ground here in my eyes, as that could have been a good opportunity. I think the T-72s were overextended there, especially with the Su-22 not around, but Golden Panzer not able to really get any major value out of this. And oh no, the Leo 2A3 got its engine destroyed, and there's no supply unit right there right now. Leo 1A1 gets hit by Fagot with the side shot, and yeah, this is the opportunity completely gone. The T-72s will be able to repair, and the Fagot even might be able to pick off the Leo 1A1 here in a second. Disengages now in a good manner.
Yeah, the Gods of War punishing Golden Panzer for not taking the initiative there and not playing the doctrine of the attack as you're supposed to as a German. The engine destroyed is a huge tempo hit right now, but meanwhile the T-72s are not the T-72s are not fighting with any ATGM support. Oh, the Su-22 is diving in here, but the Roland is enough of a deterrent to take it to push it back. The T-72s without larger support forces will lose straight up to the Leopard 2s. The Leopard 2s are more maneuverable, they have better guns, they fire faster if there are repeat shots, and the veterancy bonuses of the T-72s do not affect their reload speed due to their mechanical autoloader. So even right now, Golden Panzer is playing a little bit safely, I agree, but again, I think they just wanted to be very certain of that they survive the very powerful Honker Rus opener. And now that the blobs start building up here, now that they know that the enemy has invested into 2 frontline coups and that the enemy force is spread out in pretty tightly across the northern part, I think Golden Panzer does have cards to play. They're bringing in both Leopard 1s and 2s and Sikarungs to be cheap frontline infantry and give a little bit of extra recon for the Leopards. This is going to be a blob fight. If this is going to be a blob fight, Golden Panzer has the better units for it. But for the moment, Honeycomb does have the wider front line, and this front line can be exploited with cheap ATGMs that will eventually attrition away the Leopards.
Dana now coming in for the Roland 3. Roland 3 not moving yet, gets hit by the first shot immediately. Accuracy of the Dana not always great, but the Roland is not moving at all. Oh no, Golden Panzer might lose the Roland here. It only starts moving after the third shot did land, down to 1 hit point. And the last shot looks good. Yes, Roland 3 taken out. That means the Su-22 now has an easier time here. Does miss again. The Su-22 so far not hitting any shots. They would one-shot kill Leo 2 even from the A3, even from the front. I'm a bit surprised we don't see the 2A4s, which have the better frontal armor here, and the better penetration from Golden Panzer, as they would be able to at least survive a hit like that. And currently the trade's heavily in favor of Honeycomb, and that is a massive issue against 20th Panzerna, as the T-72s haven't died yet. We saw a good couple of martyrs and a couple of Leo 1s already dying as well. And the Leo 2A3 leader there actually got sideshot by T-72M1, down to 2 hit points now again. So it will have to disengage here in a split second again to repair, as currently no supply truck directly in the front line once more. Mancut 6x6 coming around now, but it is not there yet. And the Leo 1A1s here really not good for the fights against the T-72s.
Yeah, the Leopard 1A1A1s are some of the best tanks for their purpose in this game, and tank fights against the T-72s are exactly the opposite of this purpose. They are good on the defense, they're good as fire support, and right here they are simply good for taking one hit and smoking before going and spending some supply for repairs. Now with the Fagots getting
Oh
up here...
no, the Leo 2A3 leader gets sniped by artillery, didn't get brought into a better position further away from the front line, and the Dana does punish that immediately, and that is a massive loss, and the position here for Golden Panzer is a really rough one, as he's now is down to a +4 tick for the enemy, which is a good tick, and has to push and get some ground back now.
Yeah, the Dana is aiming at a Leopard 2, managing to get a first shot hit on it, even though the Leopard speed does allow it to run off. Now, the attack is moving in a path that is covered by Honeycombs' Fagot, as well as a T-72M1. All of these tanks moving sideways northeast towards this forest are at risk of a counterattack, and with the Salamandras here, with their Malyutkas and their autocannons, they'll be able to do pretty nice fire support against this attack. The Salamandras are not that expensive, and on the defense, they can provide a pretty nice deterrent. They're also maybe hoping that Golden Panzer would move the Gepards further up, because the Gepards with their armor can easily be taken out by the Fagots.
Yeah, Sicherungs here without AT weapons pushing ahead of the Pioneer Carl Gustav, but those get stunned down pretty easily as well here, and the T-72s just completely shred the infantry in the forest there right now, as there's not enough AT here on the German side to push through. Leo 1A1 can't really help out either. The Leo 2s are currently repairing, there are still 3 of them, but the position is just a really rough one there on the edge, with all the artillery firing towards them. The Su-22s in the sky, and yes, we have another Roland 2 coming around. We have a Roland 3 on the battlefield again as well, but the trades lately are just not good at all.
Yeah, these engagements, the great moment in the early tank engagements where the Leopards had their momentum has not been recovered. Instead, there is actually a solid counterattack coming from Honeycombs now, following up that artillery kill that was basically achieved by those Rod Specialne GSRs, those ground surveillance radar units. The fact that the Leopards have not traded themselves up and have not gained any ground realistically just means that they are now fighting a wide front against an enemy that can sideshot them pretty easily. The speed is only really a defensive factor if you have space to move. If every time you start moving you're risking a immediate side shot, that is a weak position for the Leopard. And looking at the tank positions here, this is counter blob tactics, this is wide front tactics coming from Honeycombs, and it's really nice.
Oh
really
no,
nice support, I think.
Leo 2A3 goes over the edge in the north, immediately gets shot by 3 T-72s. Yes, if your Leos never kill off the T-72s, you never get the advantage you want to, and the Su-22 now coming in with a kill as well. We have 1 Leo 2A3 here remaining on the battlefield. There's 6, 7 T-72s here on the other side. This battle is basically lost at this stage, as the sheer power of the Red forces could just A-click forward at this stage. And yeah, the strategy and the positions of Golden Panzer just not working out in this game number 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Panzer also invested, much like Polish divisions. Golden Panzer did have the affordable infantry going out there and special forces recon as well, but the affordable infantry was used in an close range attack capacity, trying to regain that tactical fortress on the west side of Anna. And whereas we can see Honeycombs having the initiative and the map control advantage early on, use their cheap units to build a wide front of extra defense in depth recon, ATGMs, and all of this stuff. And with those positions getting help there, the maneuverability and the blob advantage of the fifth just never started getting into fashion. The Su-22 missed a lot of shots, so it's not like there was a great luck going in for Honeycombs here, but great positions lead into great engagements, and great engagements lead to having a 4.5 KDR in tank fights.
Yeah, really, really well-deserved victory here by Honeycombs. Golden Panzer not quite having the setup there, not quite daring enough with the Leo 2s to reduce the T-72 number. And if the T-72 number in the mid-game is allowed to grow exponentially, then they will just get you. And that's exactly what the T-72s did here, getting to the side shots. And that's always the issue with Leo 2s. If the enemy can envelop you, the airside armor really starts to hurt, and that's exactly what happened here. The Dana, good investment there as well, and really shows why 20th Panzerna is seen as one of the top divisions currently in the game. And yeah, we're gonna see how Golden Panzer will approach the next game. If they maybe swap to the more aggressive down to earth division, though usually they are a bit more of this mechanized 5th Panzer style. Maybe they can change that up a bit though to make it a closer fight. A quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 2. So here we go, game number 2, and Honeycombs up 1-0, and Golden Panzer switching over to the other Germany, as he's playing now as the 9th Panzer, another division pretty close to what Golden Panzer usually plays, as they are now the T-72 division though, so they are the faster division this time. But on the other side, we have the slightly heavier tank division here, with the 79th under Honeycombs bringing around the 79th Tankovi. And before we go in, a quick shout out to the Matcherino page, guys, where you can help out funding the tournament prize pool that these players are playing about, and you can do that without paying anything yourself. All you have to do is go to the Matcherino page and click the claim code button up here, link in the chat right now, and if you do that, it adds 25 cents to the prize pool for free. We are barely over the halfway mark there, guys. A couple more clicks and we will have another good couple of dollaroos in the prize pool. If you want to contribute money directly, you obviously can do that as well with the button above. And yeah, thanks to all of you supporting the event. Thanks for all of you watching. If you want to help the channel out, consider leaving a like, consider leaving a follow and a subscription. And with that said, let's get into the action here, as this time the T-72s of Golden Panzer are seemingly the ones that will try to roll forward into Boris.
Yeah, so Ninth Panzer is actually one of the least aggro tank divisions. They lack a a recon special forces team. They lack a lot of the stuff that they lack a fast transport for their infantry. Largely, they go to 90 and 75 kph, but they can compensate with it with the T72 move to the 160 point resolute and smoke launcher armed. Uh, a kind of discount T72, getting them in with nice veterancy, and with three of those kind of mediocre tanks, they can engage singular units very well. And with the Mi2 recon heli meta right now, you get the perfect information in the game for 60 points every game. The lack of the recon infantry can maybe be compensated a little bit. The BMP1s are going to be there in around the time to spot things for the T72s anyways, and the Mi2 urns can provide the kind of early early fighting capacity in hunting down maybe recon units. On the other hand, we're going to see the Soviet export equipment against the Soviet mainstay equipment here, but the Spetsnaz GRU, supported by a MiG-23, likely going out there to hunt the recon helicopters, and the Rasvedka BMP2s in three of them. That's quite a lot of those, actually. This is a very purposeful attempt at Honeycomb in taking the early game once again. They managed it the last game with the Polish, but right now the Rasvedka
Oh
BMP2s are an
no!
expensive investment.
Both
But
Mi2
the
Urns standing too close together, getting killed off by a single R60M that just came out last second. The MiG-23ML only able to fire one there on a really weird angle, but it landed directly on both Mi2 Urns, taking them out at once. A bit of a mistake there by Golden Panzer, not spacing them out a bit better, and gets punished immediately. Yeah, always space out your helicopters, guys, in attacks like these, and oh no, the MiG-23 takes them all out. MiG-23MF bought by Golden Panzer, but that one won't be there in time here to save his early game. It only can maybe get a revenge kill here, though even that has to be careful. MiG-23 on the other side, able to get gun run in. MiG-23MF on the way out. Can it get the kill? Yes, it can. As the MiG-29 on the hunt now against the MiG-23MF. Don't think it can get close enough, but this still means that the early game here for Honeykumis should be a good one.
Yeah, the only tank here for the board for Honeycomb right now is the T80BV ISD-29. This is the fastest packed tank. It is great. It is awesome. It has an amazing ATGM, but it is still going to lack in numbers for the T72 moves. I think the play here for Honeycomb is to try to use the Spetsnaz crew to gain a map control advantage via recon, and then avoid fighting the T-72s. Let the T-72s try to get as close as possible, wait for reinforcements, and have the BMP-2s and airplanes harass them. Even BMP-2 reinforcements getting bought here for Honeycomb as well with the Conkers. So this passive play style, I think, is going to be what it is. The T-80 is going to be able to effectively kite those tanks and wants to attack them on long missile ranges instead of getting close, which is why I'm pretty suspicious about this play here for Honeycomb, is to drive it right up the front. But I guess with the smoke launcher, it can retreat fast enough if well controlled.
Yes, the 3 T-72s rolling in here. Spetsnaz GRU taking a decent amount of damage. The BMP-1s and T-72s now continue moving further forward, trying to get into range here. Will get more involved with the whole situation. MiG-29 still in the air, still creating air control. And BMP-2 involved as well. Ooh, T-80BV getting hit pretty heavily there. SPW though, oh no, doesn't get controlled here by Golden Panzer. Runs directly into the front line. Does survive for now, as everything else is forced back there. The T-72s, I think, should just move on with the infantry here now. MiG-23 gets bought. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, are the units moving fast enough? One T-72 and a Coup getting killed off by the SU-24 cluster. The SU-22 AT on the other side doesn't get a kill. And the MiG-23 and the SU-22 go down as well. Oh, an absolute disaster, and a well-used SU-24 cluster there. Really well executed. as the
Oh, and the
T-72s now
leader
are
going down.
completely out of power now. SPW goes down as well. This is a complete disaster once more here for Golden Panzer.
Yeah, the Su-24, the high altitude bombers with long drop time and a very large payload, those things have been getting back into fashion, I think, with now that people are more used to having a great early game information with the recon heli meta, and especially as a counter to these sorts of very standard cheap tank blobs that people do tank aggro with, as we're seeing with Golden Panzer. The 79th having both those and as well as a large number of coups, it kind of gives them a nice airplay, even if they lack some of the like more precise AT planes that the pack divisions generally get.
Yes, the BMP-1 is moving forward. T-72S is coming up, but no units here on the other side dying right now. That is a massive problem. The Pioneer Flamethrower, they can't really do anything here either, and the T-72s have to wait for repair, and that's not the momentum that you need here with 9th Panzer. And the scaling of 79th is just so much better, so with them also having the better early game, it will be really, really tough here for the 9th Panzer play to achieve much in the next couple of minutes, and there needs to be some success here for Golden Panzer, otherwise this game will be spiraling out of control really, really quickly.
Yeah, Golden Panzer has a zero vet T-72S, which is East German's highest tech tank. It has the Sver missile, which is the similar to, actually better than what the T-80BB gets, but this is still a T-72, and with zero vet, it means that it's likely not going to be serving as an assault tank, more likely like a long range denial with this long range missile. And this means that Golden Panzer's buys here, buying a bunch of supply, buying a bunch of coups, BRM. No attack is happening for the moment. This is free ground here for Honeycombs to try to get good engagements. There's not that much stuff that can move around and fight back. And in most engagements here, Golden Panzer would probably be better in just avoiding them and hoping the enemy would overextend.
Yeah, and the T-80BV, IZD, BMP-2s all now pushing forward already. T-72S now trying to take some fights, does miss with its main gun. BMP-2 smokes off on the other side. SU-22AT coming along again. It can't one-shot the T-80BVs though. So in this matchup, not as good as against the Leo 2s, A3s that we saw last time around. BMP-2 and Modrachetka also shutting down the northern road already. So Honeycomb is really pushing in there. Has a MI2 really deep into the enemy spawn as well to see any air spawns coming in, so that they can react to any airplanes being brought up. So really insane control already over the battlefield here by Honeycombs this early in the game.
Yeah, the Su-24 Cluster 2 is it's kind of like
Oh,
a super weapon for outscaling other tank divisions. That if you can get enough ground early on with your Spetsnaz crew and your Rasputka BMP-2s, the standard way an enemy would fight against 79th is trying to get early game kills by massing cheaper tanks, knowing that the Soviet high-tech stuff is still high-tech stuff. It's a bit expensive, like the IZD 29 is 275 points. That's like two T-72s almost. So having the cluster bomber to punish this blobbing is just a devastating weapon here. The weaponry that 9th Panzer gets, similar weaponry such as the napalm rocket launchers, those are not useful for 79th, which does not rely on massing units right now.
yeah, and the T-72S got killed off here as well by the planes, and now the T-80BV IZD is trying to push forward. If that could get killed off here somehow, that might be a way in to maybe catch a slightly overextended Honeycombs, but that is a big if. The T-72 MUVs, they can deal decent damage on this range, but MiG-29 is in the sky again, and the T-72 MUV number 1 already getting damaged pretty heavily here. The second one isn't hitting at all, so this fight is not going the way of Golden Panzer either, and Golden Panzer realizes that, surrenders here, and this was a devastating 2-0 victory here. Honeykumis just dismantling Golden Panzer in this one. That was not the games that Golden Panzer was hoping for, and Honeykumis once more a step closer to the playoff stage.
Yeah, I mean, Skoof Honeykumis was never somebody to be messed with. Golden Panzer is has not like reached the absolute top stages of Division One. I don't believe, at least not skill wise. But still, the fact that these two games were finished in such a decisive manner early on kind of speaks at how well the meta divisions, on the tank meta divisions right now, how well people like Honeykumis have mastered them. Like I was just in awe constantly of the confident aggro unit compositions coming in from Honeykumis, and how all of them just constantly like worked. There were no useless units on board, and every time I thought that, oh, there's something that Honeykumis needs, that was the next thing that was getting bought there. Just like extremely decisive here. Good on Golden Panzer for fighting, taking not losing it right in the opener, you know.
Yeah, job well done here by Honeykumis. One step closer to where they usually end up in at least the quarterfinals, maybe the finals again. We will see how the journey goes. For now, we're gonna switch over to the next matchup. So quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with another game from Division 1 group stage. So here we return, everybody, to the second series of the day, and we have a good one for you, as we come right at the Kreide coastline of Germany, and which division would fit better on a map like that than the division that is named after the island in Germany with the best of those Kreide Felsen, and that is Rügener Gruppierung here under Sir Gunther on his key division here once more. Whilst Lathans on the left side here. Another one of our veterans, bringing around 8th US. Another veteran division, though not that high in the course currently, so this is going to be an interesting one. And yeah, so Elsgunter here with Rügener Gruppierung. It's his trademark, but nobody else plays this division, so do you believe it can beat the 8th US here on its map?
I think that if there are series of decisions that go like not like minor victories, but like major immediate trades up, gaining ground, and then getting into a proper tempo of not allowing the eighth to build up. That is the win condition, I think, early on for Rugener. The eighth's weakness, eighth has basically only good units, and its weakness is on getting all of those units on board. So any kind of tempo loss that is coming here from this attacking reserve formation is gonna be lethal. Just by the time there's like two M1 Abrams on board, it's going to be fighting from the back foot for the rest of the game. And these KSK, Aufklärer, MI8s, and the fast-moving AA car ZPU2s with their Strelas, speed is kind of very essential here. On the Hell's Highway front here, the two T-55s and a T-72 will act as the mechanized force trying to get into Dimitri. And I think the way that this could work out very well for Suojeluskunta would be if Lathans' heavy investment into Boris, the place I like to call the landing zone, because that's how people treat it, the large amount of infantry, if all of this just gets dodged, if all of those points are removed from the fight, and then the lighter recon containment forces and the Toe Cobra get taken out by a good recon and aggro combination. That's it's not going to be impossible, but it really, I think that really is the thing there. They eighth has Eyehawks, which means any airspan play is not going to last for long. Eighth has long range surveillance, which means that they can always have top tier recon even in the late game for their M1s. They have the base M1s, which are better than everything Rugener can bring and are not expensive as the M1A1s. And also their infantry is just good enough to fight against this stuff. They got a bunch of Dragon missiles, which are the hard counter to BMP-1s and T-55s. And, this map, even though it does reward my aggro, is not the most all-in of all maps. This map has depths and dimensions, and those dimensions can be filled with late game M1s.
Yeah, the Rügener Gruppierung, in my eyes, has the advantage in defensive play, but that issue with that division is that it needs to get into those defensive positions, and you need to get there with relatively weak offensive capabilities beforehand, and you can't really push back. Like, you need to get a point advantage early on, and then you have pretty strong defensive tools, like the Mi-14 with the longest range helicopter anti-tank missile. That is also the heaviest hitting anti-tank missile in any helicopter. But getting there means you need to somehow get more points than your opponent early on. And that is not easy, because your aggressive tools are somewhat limited. At least 8th is not good in the early game with rushing positions either, so there is a chance here, but the Hawk already killing off a KSK in the south, the Toe Cobra here in general in scary positions. The MiG-23 tries to come around, fails to kill either of the Cobras right now, and that is already a pretty tough position to be in. Chaparral pushes it back, might even get the kill there. No, it misses the next missile, but the Cobra's still alive and dealing a lot of damage here. This is not a good start for the Rügener Gruppierung.
Yeah, we're seeing blood on the nude beaches here as the Rugener defenders are driving into American fire support. not getting out the Cobras was a huge deal, and now the Mi-8 Recon is pursuing them with its 50 cal machine gun, and the Chaparral is actually moving up here to try to engage it. But with the 20 millimeters, the Cobras are more than capable of defending themselves. And yeah, this is that was a little bit desperate there. The KSK getting taken out very quickly by the Cobras, the fighters not being able to take them back. 8th Infantry is in a position to keep going well here. The tanks, the M60s, are going to meet the main attack going up northwest, but with a little bit of air support, I think Lathans will likely be able to contain the enemy into Dimitri at the very least.
Yeah, we see Soil's got at least having some success up north there. The Mi-8 did help out, killing off some M150s, helping the KSKs to get through at that front. So that could potentially still be a chance of making it a bit further here. But the middle engagement didn't go so well. The Lim 6 at least did get some damage in, but their rounds will be numbered. Like, they are a really flimsy plane. They are decently fast, but anything hitting them will kill them off. So the next couple times around, when there will be a bit more AA on the battlefield, they will have it a good bit tougher. The M60A3s in the north now engaging the T55As. T55s getting good hits there, getting the kill on the first one. T55A is currently maybe the best cost-efficient tank in the game, so the one card that Rügner gets there goes pretty hard for them. The T72 with them is pretty helpful too. So that part of the map currently is going okay for the Rügner. The center and the south aren't, and that's the big problem there. 2 Meridas coming around for the south. They might be able to at least contain the area, but the question is, can that lead to a point advantage that you really want here as Rügner right now?
Yeah, Lathans is pushing with a Dragon APC actually down south and trying to find out any ways to actually use all of the infantry investments down there. But now Sueluskunta is buying 2 Meridas, which is quite a big investment to prevent an enemy breakthrough on the middle and southern areas. The Malyutka piece also will be able to participate in this, but if Lathans has literally any time, oh, the Chaparral's going down to the limbs. That was a really nice kill here, and maybe could allow Soilos Kunta to have a little bit of an air snowball for the moment. But yeah, the counterattacking the middle is going to be such a big problem if Eighth gets any defenses up there.
Yeah, the position in the north is still developing decently for Soil's Contact, killing the Chaparral there with the KSKs as well. KSK Special Forces, they are pretty decent on the mid and short ranges with their submachine gun and light support weapons. They can be really good at CQC, but currently caught out in the open field. That's not their forte, so they are in a bit of trouble there. The leader with smoke rounds and Komar missiles, AT missiles in the middle, is still getting stuck as well. Didn't pop the next smoke in time, so the M60 does find a kill, will clean out the zone, and with that, put the tick up to a +2 even here for Lathans, and that's currently a problem for Seilskunta, as you want to be the one currently ahead in points, and it's currently the 8th that has the better late game, that has the capability of actually pushing somewhere in the late game with the M1s, with the good air support and artillery, and the Rügner doesn't quite get those kind of tools.
Yeah, Protoss, your favorite and my least favorite unit game, the Mi-14 PL, is down here. The single shot 30 penetration AT missile with the 3000 range, and that needs to be reloaded every time, requiring immense micro and really good luck as well to actually be useful. And that is the T-72 without smoke, the base model, getting taken out by an Abrams here. And even though there are now air assets, the limbs and the Mi-14 to prevent this, I still think with just a little bit of air defenses, the 2 Abramses can easily counterattack here. There are no immediate reinforcements or infantry coming in. Or the first ones are just getting both the Conquerors and the BTR. And if Lathans pushes this right now, there's not going to be a defensive line the reinforcements can arrive in.
Yeah, the Mi-14 also not protected by any crooks or anything like that here, so Any fighter from the 8th could come in quite quickly and kill it. The Abrams pushing into the 55A does spot it, puts it down to 2 hit points. The MI-14 currently not in the spot to shoot here. MiG-23 is around. Limb 6 will be pushed back. The SPW-70s, which you get a decent number of, pushing into the south, and Lathans lacks units with basic AT capabilities down there. So that's currently a surprising issue here for Lathans, that the SPWs can just run him over. And his infantry there, a bit struggling. Mech Rifles, really unfortunate, missing 2 of their 4 laws. And the last one only damaging an SP-17, not killing it off, and now those can just run through all of this. So, massive issue there for Lathans. Will lose the south to some really light forces. The Meridas will help with the M60s. So, is this super cheap Rügener spam actually working out? Oh, the cluster's missing! 2 SU-22 clusters being brought in, both missing an M60. Massive misplay there by our player in red. But the iHawks, luckily, not hitting them either, so life still okay, but those should have killed the M60 with just a bit better usage.
Yeah, the with 8th having such expensive units, there are gaps in the defenses here. We haven't seen an F-16 fighter plane, for instance, and I think Suojeluskunta, seeing the M1 Abrams and knowing that there's going to be a counterattack, immediately took in, and even with the defensive Malyutka units just pushed west into Bravo, trying to draw in the enemy's attention and resources to prevent a breakthrough up north. And those reinforcements I was afraid that wouldn't arrive are now arriving, Motorschützen and BTR and Conqueresses. And now that the fighting lines are developing here, it's most of Lathans's attention is likely going to be in preventing this Bravo attack from going anywhere.
Yeah, the Motorschützen have to unload, getting through just in time. The Boris units made it into the zone. That will allow Suojeluskunta to get to a good tick. His Reservistenführer got around in the north. Mech Rifles Dragons likely gonna get overwhelmed in the north. The M1 Abrams goes down to the Mi-14. So, situation here is actually developing pretty decently here for the Rügener, as this is now the spot where Rügener wants to be in. And the air forces here, with some luck and some good movement on the tank side, really got Suojeluskunta now into a position where he can start to develop his point lead and then start to set up the defensive play with the Crooks, with the Mi-14s, and the Meridas to set up a killing field here that the enemy might not be able to push through.
Yeah, the twin Su-22s are now going in, but they are targeting APCs and getting shot at by the iHawks, not taking any valuable units there, and taking a big hit of 9 damage into one of the clusters, and but still having the decent information about where the enemy's air defenses are. I'm thinking Suojeluskunta will likely keep doing the air attacks up north, so only a single, actually 2 Stingers, and if the F-16 is not on the board right now, the M1 Abramses getting taken out are huge hits there. Without the M1 Abramses, the Meridas and the T-55s can basically be the kings of the battlefield for the moment.
Yeah, Limb 6M gets shut down finally. Got a kill on the Mech Rifle Dragons though. And the Mi-14, it even outranges the Stingers. Stingers 2,650 meter range against helicopter. So the Mi-14 can create a bigger killing field than that. And outranges the Chaparral's anti-helicopter range as well. That's an issue when used nicely on the defense. But first, Suojeluskunta needs to get the point advantage, which they are on the work to get there now. We'll have a +3 in a second. That will mean that they only need a couple minutes, maybe even less now that they take over the center as well. As Lathans completely pivoted out there. Maybe a mistake out of Lathans' side to give that zone up so freely. And now we have a +5 coming up for Suojeluskunta, and that feels a lot better for Rügener, because this is really the moments where you need to get that point advantage with them and make the life of 8th a lot more painful.
Yeah, that the tempo and the aggression is still being getting up, even with eighth getting such good trades early on and removing some of the more aggressive key aggressive units such as the KSKs and the Mi-8 helicopters. Those the counterattack into war is really is key here. There were enough units, not that Lathans of course knows about this, but there were enough units out there to keep doing the attack. And now the every attack that Lathans is going to do is going to be under the threat of other of air attacks, which means that there has to be a slower buildup of IHawks and F-16s and Stingers, which is once again taking points away from getting recon units on the board, which could have maybe kept the center position. The fact that these engagements just haven't been bad enough, the for Suojeluskunta has put Lathans repeatedly into the defensive, and now it is possible for 8th Infantry to go into a juggernaut mode, scale really heavily, and just start tech advantaging out all of the packed units. But under a +5, that's pretty difficult. Something needs to start happening right now, and it's not going to happen optimally as long as the Su-22s are in the air.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, dodging 2 IHawks here.
Cluster bomber not dropping its bombs though, gets pushed back just beforehand, but yeah, once more not getting a kill through. Merida and T-72 are around there, so it needs heavier vehicles now on Lathan's side to get back, and with this middle zone given up, he didn't just give up the point, which gives an extra +2 here for Suojeluskunta. He also gave up a pivoting point to move through, maybe flank the enemy, and make the life here for the Rügner a bit more complicated. Instead, it's Rügner who still have the concave here against the convex of Lathans, and that's never a great feeling in any RTS, and WARNO is no difference there. Concave beats the convex.
The most powerful weapon in human history.
Yes.
2 other Abrams tanks, these are the base models, which still very good. And these are maybe some of the best tanks you can have against a technologically inferior opponent in this game, even with their 105mm guns. The getting a third Abrams up on the board here just to start pushing this one front line. And meanwhile, Suojeluskunta is using this time to buy Krugs, to buy Conquerors and Aufklärers, even more ATGMs and just infantry to hold a front line in Bravo. These the points-wise, even a 200-point main battle tank is very expensive if it's going against 65-point Conquerors and 35-point Aufklärers. Recon and numbers have inherent advantages, and if those Abrams start getting stacked, it's only going to increase the likelihood that at some point that stack is going to drive into a bad position, whether it be into RPG-7s or into a cluster bomber, or just some cheap T-55s that get the kinetic penetration advantage when they're close by. Speaking of, they are moving into engage now.
Yeah, the mech rifle dragons though, getting some really good shots there, killing off one Merida and damaging a T-55A heavily. Conquerors getting pushed back by them as well. So the Abrams here doing great trades. Now just need to smoke off and repair. And that is really the issue here now for the Rügner. They start to struggle against divisions like formations like that. The mech rifle dragons keep on pushing. T-55As start falling here. The dragons likely gonna take them out here in a second as well, as more fire teams come around, and the Su-22 comes in again, but the IHawk has the south covered. The loss of Boris wouldn't be the end of the world yet. It would only reduce the tick, but Suojeluskunta obviously, if possible, wants to win the fight here, or at least have the time to get a better defensive lineup. Mi-14's not around here for the south. Krug's not around on the battlefield in the south yet, only one in the north. And we see now another tool in Rügner's arsenal that is quite unique, and that is the mine clearing tool. They were the first division to bring them around, and they can be pretty good on the defense as well, immediately swinging infantry fights. And oh, so Suojeluskunta even scouting out if there's anything protecting Anna right now. realizing that nothing is protecting Anna really. So their UATs will be brought up, the CV will be brought up, trying to just run in there, increasing the tick even further. But at the same time, the Abrams now start to move further forward as well. And the SU-22 cluster immediately gets pushed back again, gets stunned down, might get killed off this time around. Lim 6 coming around, running down, killing off a couple of infantry units. The Krooks, the Ihawks coming around, killing off one Lim 6, pushing back the SU-22, so doing their job here. But the SU-22, at least still alive, will be able to come around at a later stage once more.
Oh no, the infantry attack going against the Abrams, but the Abrams is now suppressed and under Malyutka and T-72 fire. The infantry is retreating here, not wanting to sacrifice themselves for the engagement, but the Abrams is not in the greatest position as well. Suojeluskunta fighting the enemy to a standstill in Boris, as you mentioned earlier, is a victory condition here with the +5, only 3 minutes to victory, and just having literally any units in the middle position, in the center position, we mean, that can actually keep out the enemy as long as this front line is so wide. With the tanks being able to do side shot and the coffin launchers being able to just do free damage every once in a while, this is Lathans can't ignore Boris, so just having any kind of a stop. Oh, now the Mi-14PL is coming down, maybe trying to take out the leader, the MUT CP.
Yeah, the crew could come around. It does miss against the mud. The one Abrams does fall though. And in the north, a ZBU super cheap AA truck killed off both Cobras. And that means the northern flank is now completely secure for Suojeluskunta. Suojeluskunta's investments can now go all into the center. It could even potentially set up a flank from the north. Lathans does get 2 CVs into the zones here, and at least gives a bit more time, but the Abrams number is down to 1 by now. Too many side shots here, thanks to the concave happening in the last couple of minutes, and Lathans not having enough supply trucks on the front line here to keep the Abrams completely repaired and up with smoke rounds the whole time. And this game is just ticking out of control now. Rügener doing Rügener things here, and Lathans is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there have been all the time in this game. There have been gaps in Lathans' defenses, and those gaps have repeatedly been exploited. Whether it be the lack of kind of constant front line because of the investments into the AA and the Abramses, whether it be the lack of AA in certain areas, letting the limbs go out there and just keep taking out cheap units. The cluster planes have been very aggressive, and the cluster planes have actually targeted the infantry a couple of times, knowing that having to buy supply is going to go into Lathans' tank buys and core unit buys, as well as just keep the attacks slowed down. So yeah, now Suojeluskunta winning this straight up. I'd say in the early opener when we saw those hogs just go hog wild and remove the KSKs from the board, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be exactly what we described. But Suojeluskunta playing the mind games and playing the understanding games so very well. You can't show to our audience the player views, but because that would spoil the map, unfortunately. But I can watch them, and Suojeluskunta was using recon and recon information so well. The buildup of defensive forces into the middle southeast was immediately went in and started moving after the first light vehicles have figured out what there was in that defensive forests, and immediately as that started happening, as the kills started going in, Lathans stopped stopped commanding stuff on the western front, because the Abramses attacking on those close quarters require a lot of attention. They require a lot of supporting units, and those supporting units need to be microed as well. I think that was the moment when Suojeluskunta truly turned this around.
Yeah, the northern push from the get-go went pretty well. The Meridas did a good job there as well, and you don't get that many, but as the early game is going on, the cost efficiency of the T-55's Ace can carry you a bit, and yeah, Suojeluskunta did push that forward, sniped the in really important manner as well. The Limb 6 actually able to bring a lot of power there, and Lathans not having to deal anything with light vehicles. That's a bit of an issue of HVS. Their infantry AT is not the best. Laws are not great, and the dragon's not always the most efficient weapon around. So really well played here by Sir, and gets a 1-0 here in this series. Let's see if Lathans can bring it around in game number 2 of Sir, with most likely another fancy pick, can solidify the 2-0 victory here. Quick break, guys, then we're going to be back with game number 2. So here we go, game number 2. And so Sir, this time around, bringing in a relatively meta division. 4th ZMAC versus Lathans 79th, which for sure is an OG division, as we have seen Lathans play it a lot. His old school divisions that fit him as a veteran WARNO player. And on the other side, Sir with the 4th ZMAC that is a pretty meta division currently, though I don't think it's a really meta division for Vertigo, which brings an interesting spin in here. 79 for sure is. It's a heavily mechanized division that can use the open spaces on this map pretty well. 4th ZMAC is a fast division that is mostly going around using its cost efficiency and its fast speed with the Honka Rus to its advantage, and then a lot of T55As and their cost efficiency. But on the longer ranges here on this map, I'm not sure that will work out that easily, though it seems like we're gonna see a big rush here coming out of Soiluskunta.
Yeah, Soiluskunta does not go where the fence is the lowest, so to speak. As we saw with the Rugener thing, he seems to believe that there is an inherent quality in not doing things easily, and I think that might be what we're seeing here with the four Schmeck pick, because it specifically is Lathans and Lathans is 79th that early on in the last season of the WARNO League, Lathans had like a series of crushing victories against the enemy. playing very much with massed coups and with the Su-24s, the high altitude bombers that are so good at clearing these tight defensive front lines that this map kind of people play around on this map. The Boris defenses as well as the Anna defenses are all in these nice straight lines that with a little bit of micro, the Su-24s can gain amazing damage, which then, of course, will be followed up with some of the best packed tank tabs. The coups are a cheap and effective way of making sure that you're going to keep on having the air supremacy. And the MiG-23 AA3 is has the special long range heat seekers, the kind of Soviet AMRAAMs, which gives it a nice little bit of an edge over the standard MiG 23s.
And here we goes. The Commandosis coming around in the helicopters, going hard. I love the look of these helicopters. I don't know why, but the roundings on these things just look the right way.
Yeah, I agree. They're kind of Italian.
Yeah, they're yeah, they have, still you can see the origins as a packed helicopter, but they're looking like a weird mix of Western and Eastern technology there, which obviously fits Poland quite nicely. And yeah, the V3 Sokol, one of my favorite Cold War helicopters for sure. Going here with the Mi-24Ds, Mi-2s coming up in the rear, and the Rospecialny going pretty deep as well. MiG-23MF coming around, but on the other side, the T-80s coming immediately for the middle here. Like, both sides have ignored the north completely, and that's the right choice here for sure for Lathans. I am not 100% sure it's the right choice for the 4th ZMAC, but we will see if Zeroskunta's push here can work. Special Forces will land. The Spetsnaz GRU are around. They are Special Forces as well, though I believe this Commandosi's firepower is slightly higher, but we will see how this goes here now. The helicopters will have to be sold here. The Mi-24 can come around, but the coups on the way already. So far, only some Mi-2s and some transports dying. And the Mi-2 getting pushed back here in the center. Honkers pushing forward,
Honkers,
getting
no.
sniped. Commandosis being pushed back already as well. Completely stunned. Down by the Spetsnaz GRU. Spetsnaz GRU really winning this fight completely due to the better positioning, and the Spetsnaz GRU there completely ruining the Commandosi's day in the south. The helicopters pushed back as well. The Mi-24 got shut down, and yeah, this is not going the 4th ZMAC way at all.
Yeah, I see the plan that Suojeluskunta was doing. The Commandosi landed there early and took control of the east part of the tree line, not going in there. But then with the Spetsnaz GRU moving in and managing to move one of those as well as the reinforcing recon unit, the smoke barrage came in just a little bit too late to actually prevent this, and the miss micro with the honker was huge. Despite this, BRDM Conqueresses have taken control, strong position to take out any reinforcements, and the T-55s are moving in to apply some level of tank control here. But I think the T-55s are just trying to get away from the T-80s, and attacking at this point is maybe the safest option. The T-80s with the coups here, Suojeluskunta obviously knowing that the way Lathans likes to play this, which is taking and getting the coups up there to give you a fast-moving kind of a 1-2 of the bombers, and then following up with the T-80s. And Suojeluskunta does not want to allow this and wants to kind of maybe force a very wide front line. We can see the Mi-2 Gniavosh going to the north to clean up with the Honker Russes, and with the Merida actually pushing into the back point at Ivan. Yeah, this is like, I think the plan here is mega conquer. There is no way that toe-to-toe fair fight Forschmeck loses to 79th basically every time, unless you're talking infantry fights, and on this map we're not doing that. And Suojeluskunta is trying to stretch the poles to the limits of their Polishness here. Polish divisions, of course, are their signature features being their fast and effective early games.
Yeah, the OSA also coming around here now to counter the Mi-24, but the Mi-24 is already there. The T-55A doesn't have smoke. Oh, the 50 cals of the T-55s able to maybe stun down the Mi-24 before it can get any important kills here. MiG-23 comes around as well, gets the kill there. Coops likely will kill the MiG-23 on the way out together with the Iglas, but we have a +6. That's a 7-minute timer. We'll go up to a +7 in a second. That will be a 5-minute timer here. And no, a 6-minute timer, 5-minute timer if it can get center here as well. So the take lead here for Skunta is pretty big. SU-22 cluster gets a T-80. And the Coops, out of ammo, won't be able to retaliate here. It is a classic Skunta game. It is exactly the way he wants to play the game. He took heavy losses. BRDM conquers going down everywhere. His defensive line in front of Paul and Boris is non-existent, but the BRDM 2 is not there yet. And that is the massive issue here right now for Lathans. 5 minutes 30 to go in this game right now. Only a quarter of the points ticked so far, but the tick rate is insane.
Yeah, this the Conkers is on the front line fighting against the T-80s, locking them down, doing damage to them, and then like the cluster plane coming down, a second cluster plane coming here for the wounded T-80. Oh no, this is now the Meridas. The Meridas are going to be kings here for the moment with the Honker Rus and Rospetjalne spotting here. The Rasvedka BMP2s will be the only thing trying to fight off the Meridas. And yeah, this is Lathans overextended. There was not a lot to do. Maybe they could have, maybe Lathans could have just moved straight up down south, but they wanted to go and kind of finish off this attack at once. The force with the two coups and two T-80s was very powerful, and just the repeated misses against the Concourses, the bad engagements against the Concourses, and the Concourse trucks here. And yeah, I think this now with the OSA getting a hit on the MiG-29 here, buying once again a little bit more time for the Polish airplanes to work. There are no supplies for the Coups, and the Coups have run out of missiles for the moment. And yes, I love watching Suelos-Kunta. Just it's amazing that he can keep on getting away with this, even against like absolute terminators like Lathans.
Yeah, smoke play here coming around the middle. Lathans is still in this game. BRDM could move around, capture more points, is kept alive. This is really important. If the BRDM 2 would have gone down, the situation would be a lot worse. But all the units in the north are down, so the BRDM 2 could rotate north. The other one that he bought could potentially rotate south, either towards Anna or towards the rear zone of Ivan, and stop the tick. And this could fall apart really quickly still for Skunta. The forces in the north all being down is a massive issue here. The Motostrelki on its own there, just covering the whole area, is pretty big. BRDM is on the way. Currently, it's a 4-minute 10 timer. As soon as that zone gets captured, Lathans will get a decent bit more time. And once the center zone in the north gets captured as well, this tick will be slowed down massively. And the front little units here are super isolated. Conquer is coming in for the Merida leader. Doesn't get the kill. No supply for the center really is a big issue right now for Lathans, but an SU-25 comes in, and that, with the gun alone, can take out the T-55. Rocket's helping out as well. Gets the leader, and now Lathans only needs to get a leader into this rear zone, and the situation here will be dealt with. A really good opener here by Lathans when it comes to the trades, but a fantastic opener by the movement of Skunta. I'm not sure it's enough, though.
Yeah, this the counterattacks succeeding both up north and down southwest kind of put Suelos-Kunta into a position of trying to scramble to secure anything here. There are not that many units that can act independently. They all need to be acting in combined arms. So Lathans does not have to invest that much into dealing with them, just getting recon up front and then some BMPs and tanks. And with Suelos-Kunta gathering kind of a counterattack force at the entrance of their back point and trying to get into Boris, I don't think it's impossible here. With especially not when the T-80 ISD gets taken out by a cluster. Oh, now it's immensely possible right now. It's just that the BMP-1s do not have the firepower necessarily to that BMP-2s have. and the mi 24 could be taken out by the E-Class here, removing significant HE damage away from Suojeluskunta. Suojeluskunta is currently, once again, on a timer, even though this is still technically a +3. The timer is in how fast can I take out key units and regain ground before there's another wave of T80s and BMPs. Already getting bought, by the way.
Yeah, we have a good amount of BMP2s already on the battlefield. Next T80 comes in. The lack of supply in the middle will be fixed in a second when the URL finally comes around to resupply the cubes. That should have come a minute or so earlier, maybe. Ooh, BMP2 might even snipe Suojeluskunta's leader here. No, that smoke comes up in time, but the BMP1s get all shredded here, trying to push into Lathans formation. And Lathans now has a CV in the rear zones, will get back up, and will even swing it around to a +4 himself pretty quickly here. So, yeah, Suojeluskunta needs to at least get into Boris for now. Then he could decide maybe swinging up north again, maybe pushing to Anna, but currently he needs to get some ground again, and he doesn't get it. The BMP2 there stopping him really, really well, getting a massive amount of attention. BMP2 still not down. Mi-24D pretty stressed out, just like the BMP2. Finally, the BMP2 gets killed off, but there is not a lot of push power left here in Suojeluskunta's forces. The BMP1's all down. Only 2 Meridas left in this, whilst on the other side we have 4 BMP2s and a T-80BV already on the battlefield. Northern forces get reinforced as well here. And Suojeluskunta will try to get another CV in there. Let's hope the Motostrelki BMP1 doesn't just kill it off immediately.
Yeah, Rospecialny getting into the middle. Best recon positions here is a little bit of a consolation prize for Suojeluskunta, but there is no attacking capacity here before the T-80s come up. Now, this time a MiG-29 to protect the T-80 from the cluster bombers. There is no heavy AA for the Polish right now, so
Ooh, the Motostrelki is get the kill! As that CV grabbing the north would have been big. T-55s on the way there to help out as well, but instead Lathans will keep the tick up. BMP2's likely gonna arrive there in time as well. That Motostrelki BMP being pushed into the position it is in right now was a massive and really great move by Lathans, as that now also can stop T-55As from easily getting in there. They will have to face the Motostrelki, and they have no recon around to spot for them. MiG-29 here, pushing back the Su-22s as well. So the situation here is a tough one right now for Suojeluskunta.
Yeah, with the Su-22s gone, and there is nothing here that can stop any of Lathans' bombers. Osa is getting bought immediately, but that's going to be also a consolation prize, because it most likely won't be able to prevent the Su-24s or Su-25s from getting into the field. Maybe they can prevent the Su-25, but not the 24. The investments up north are more significant for Suojeluskunta, and if one of these T-80s can be taken out here by a good engagement of some kind, then the fight for the north is still up here. But if Suojeluskunta doesn't manage here, this attack with the Mi-2 doing recon and the MiG-29 doing support, now with a gunship coming in, the northern forces should almost even retreat.
Yeah, Mi-24P moving forward here. We have a +2 situation for Lathans coming up still. The MiG-29 here is the best fighter in this matchup, so that is going pretty hard for 79th as well. BMP2s in the south here, dealing with Scots, dealing with T-55 Meridas, and yeah, Suojeluskunta now trying to do another push to the south. This will not work, spoiler alert, as BMP2s are in good position. There's a lot of infantry on the other side of the forest, and the Meridas need to be with this push, otherwise it has zero chance of succeeding. The infantry on their own over the open field won't work. BMPs are running out of Conqueror's missiles, so the Meridas could move around, though obviously that's a knowledge we have, not a knowledge that Suojeluskunta has here, so let's see how this all goes. And one more Conqueror's missile in here. in one of the BMP2s, and another one has one left as well, so could still deal a bit more damage as the infantry push does continue. Helicopters be brought up, but yeah, the Motostrelkis with one vet in the forest here. The Polish infantry is good infantry, but it running through the open versus stationary, high-level cover infantry on the other side is not a good start. The Polish infantry completely stunned down, gets just shot to pieces here in the push, and the Motostrelkis will win that fight easily.
Yeah, with the superior RPO even playing there, just making it clear that the this attack was never going anywhere. SU-25 rocket going down and taking out a Merida and an infantry squad there. All the BMP-2s have moved to the southern side of the forest, so they can't be spotted by the tanks. So the BMPs can, at any moment, just push back further up and start firing their autocannons if there's a tank showing side armor, for instance.
Yeah, the T-55 AMS did a good job taking out the Motostrelkis, but the Superior RPO on its own is most likely still enough to do the job here. One T-55 AM gets taken out by another BMP and the Mi-24P in the rear. Mi-24D on the other side trying to come around, but the helicopter advantage is on Lathans' side here now as well. Still has an Igla that gets involved here as well. BMP-2 gets overwhelmed a bit here, and a bit of AA is lacking, but at the same time, two T-80BVs just crushed through all northern forces right now. And yeah, you can see the point advantage is on Lathans' side now, and he has a +2 already. Fagot ATGM does deal some damage here. The smoke play of Cyril Skunta still pretty solid. Osa gets the kill on one helicopter, might be able to get the second one taken out as well, but the Mi-24D on the other side both get killed off by the MiG-29s. The T-55 AMS goes down as well. And this situation is still not a great one for Cyril Skunta here in the south. Trading 1-1 is not what Cyril Skunta wants to do here right now, especially not with the north just getting completely obliterated by T-80BVs.
Yeah, just zooming out here, you can see how massive the numbers advantage currently is for Lathans, and of course remembering that Lathans are just way more expensive and more powerful compared to the fourth Polish. Like the early opener going all in on everything, taking a risk at not sending a single unit to the northern area, just what we sometimes refer to as 1% body fat attacks, ones that are immediately completely disintegrated if anything goes wrong. And something did go wrong in the end, and that was that the engagements that stopped the T-80 push were not even more powerful. There were very few kind of large changes here that could have changed the end results, I think. Suojeluskunta should have just gotten even more kills, just even more positions, just even more sides. That would have been the way to go here. And like you said, Forge Mech on this map, not a standard pick, especially not against Lathans, who is a master of 79th here. And yeah, I guess that's might be what Suojeluskunta was doing, just pre-preparing something that would could hard counter this. But Lathans just immensely powerful. BRM radar recon vehicles are really good and help clean up and give like perfect recon for the T-80s. The Mi-24Ps give you a lot of mobility and ability to clean up any of these cheaper units that the Polish like to set up everywhere. And the T-80BV is just more than enough in fighting off everything here. It's also very maneuverable, so it can deal with the Conquerors.
Yeah, Mi-24P in the middle does a decent job against the Scott Ace there as well. And whilst the cluster bombers just came around killing off the Coops and the Osas did kill of a MiG-29, the situation in the air might be kind of okay for the Polish right now. Everything else kind of isn't. So this is a decent situation now for Suojeluskunta in the sky, but nowhere else. The ground situation is terrible. No defensive positions really. And he is even the one that still needs to push, whilst the enemy has 4 T80s on the battlefield versus a single T55 AMS Merida. So that's not the position you want to be in there. BVP ones coming in with some more Polish mechanized infantry, but they can't push either. They are at best defensive tools here, but the situation against TADBVs, like, you don't really have the damage output here right now. The Fagot ATGMs, they don't deal any real damage against TADBVs frontally. Only 1 damage per hit, so you need 10 missiles hitting the TADBV to kill it. That's not an efficient way of dealing with them. So the only tool that currently can kill them are the planes, and I'm pretty certain, yeah, 2 more coups on the way. Lathans has the money. Lathans just has to set up the AE network here again, and then the situation will be fine. +2 is good enough to get him to a victory here as well, so Lathans doesn't need more, doesn't need to push, and this is a really rough spot for the 4th CMEC to be in at this stage.
Yeah, this is a moment when Lathan is likely going to be offering terms. The final weapon here to actually punch through the expensive equipment are the 2 Su-24 clusters, and they are going to be facing not that many coups actually at this point, and the coups are coming in there, and they will be in position when the clusters drive, but they may not be in position if the clusters. There's even a seed plane coming for Lathans, interestingly, trying to maybe push way for the Su-24s.
Yeah, Su-25 coming around here as well, trying to move around, and the MiG-27K is in the sky. Yeah, the 2 clusters haven't found a target yet. Waiting for the P1s moving forward. Serial Scooter knows that they need a zone. I guess the southern zone is the one that they want to get. They don't even have a CV on the battlefield right now, though, so they can't even capture it if they would get there at this moment. So more is needed. They currently strike with just pure artillery from the rear here, as the S-25 and Seed are around on the other side. S-22s get called back for now. Yes, Serial Scooter setting up one more bigger push, maybe hoping for a big blob or 2 for the Su-22s to hit in the next big engagement, but they are getting too many forces here. The BMP-2s and the TADBVs on their own kind of can't stop this already, and the Spetsnaz, Conquerors, teams, all of that, there are just too many forces here most likely on the battlefield. Su-25s here coming in with good damage as well. OSAs don't get hit by the MiG-27 Seed, but the rocket comes in for them. Oh, doesn't get a hit either. Okay, the air engagement once more going decently for Serial Scooter, getting 1 Su-25 shot down, loses the MiG-23 though, and doesn't kill the second Su-25. Another one being brought onto the battlefield, so this is still fine for Lathans. Lathans has a great concave around the forces of Serial Scooter in the south, and I just don't see how Serial Scooter can get into the zone he needs to get into.
Yeah, there's the 2 BMP-2s down south are just there is nothing to fight them off here realistically, other than feeding BMP-1s to them. There is a command tank on long ranges. There's nothing that's going to destroy that, and even there's also a command tank right in front of this. Not the standard unit combinations in 79th at this point of the game are more than enough at dealing with 4th mech. There's an gunship coming in for that will likely start challenging the BMP-2s. The BMP-2s do have pretty nice autocannons, but if the Mi-24 is microed well enough, it can use its ATGMs to take those out.
Yeah, Phalango piece here. Struggling to get the hit, but the BMP ones can do it. But the trades here are still even trades at best for Serial Scooter right now, and that won't give them the advantage. The TADBV's leaders here are around. The TADBV IZDs from the north now closing in as well. I guess we will see the... Yeah, there we go. Exactly as I said, that the Su-22 cluster bombers come around one more time, but they at least need 2 or 3 more good runs here, I think, to swing this game around. Running for both TADBVKs, I believe, at the second. And the Coups, maybe not in the perfect spot right now. They get the cluster drop off on the southern one. They don't get the kill. Left with less than 1 hit point there. That hit point bar is insanely small. The white sliver there is the hit point remaining for this TADBVK. But it will stay alive. and it can disengage, and that is good enough for Lathans, as his BMP2 TADB plop in the middle is just running everything else over and just is about to push into Boris there.
Yeah, this I think these are going to be the last. The the fight is getting fought here to the end by Suelos Kunta, but I'm pretty sure he knows. Like there's by the time the mech blob gets big enough, it's gonna be require a huge overextension from Lathans to actually lose all of these units. And if he doesn't lose them, they're just always going to be able to counterattack against any breakthrough that the Poles get. The Poles losing on long ranges just cannot really be fixed on this map. And the way that Suojeluskunta is doing that is aggressively using the smokes to try to force the enemy into close range engagements. But this would maybe be a worthwhile pursuit if there was not a -2 tick going on. With the -2, the having to build up the smokes and making sure that Lathans also does not have to counterattack. They can just always reposition around the smokes. It's not a solution. It's a band-aid here for the fundamental issue of the Polish not having the best, not just having actually some of the worst long-range capabilities in the game,
Yeah, with
at least
no
in divisions that are paid right now.
currently no hard-hitting ATGMs, and those are massive issue here right now. The Fagots can't even one-shot a BMP2, and we have 5 more TO55s here for Lathans coming in. More T55s than on Solis Contest on the battlefield. Not even speaking of the BMP2s and the TADBVs that are next to them. So this disadvantage in mechanized forces is just way too big at this stage. The only way I could see Solis Gunter maybe swinging this long enough around would be a sneaky way into getting into Ivan, but nothing like that is set up right now. As I said before, not even a single CV once more here on the battlefield right now, so there is not even a real attempt right now from Solis Gunter to swing the game anytime soon, and Lathans soon will have overtaken them by points with enough of a lead to be the chosen as the winner. You need 100 points more than your opponent, or get to 2,000 points to be the given the win by the game's inside rules. If it's less than 100 points difference, it will be a draw. So that could have been an option here for Solis Gunter potentially as well, but currently the tick is not close enough here, and the S22 cluster pushed back once more because it can't find a hit. Merida goes down, so the trades here super in favor of Lathans, and Solis Gunter just hoping for a miracle here, playing on, but I don't think there's a way that Lathans can lose this game at this stage.
Yeah, this Lathans is just going through the motion here and going through the motion, not knowing that their enemy is to be respected, not taking any stupid risks or trying to end the game for show with a last big hurrah. Just reposition around the smoke, get into a position to engage with your ATGMs, and then move away. Keep sending infantry up the front to prevent the enemy from taking any of these positions, and then when the infantry engages, send in your tanks to do fire support.
Yes, and now we see the TO55s pushing on. The 2 leader tanks still have to be repaired. BRDM2U in the rear there as well. Lathans not risking his CVs on the front line. Obviously, always a way of how to lose a game is by running out of CVs, and then the enemy somehow gets a tick randomly somewhere and you are in trouble, but that's not going to be happening here. There are 4 CVs on the battlefield. TO55s pushing forward here, and the trades currently are just all going one way, as the firepower advantage of the blue side is too high. Every engagement is an immediate kill of a red unit, but red firepower is not enough here to kill off blue units in time, so they can recover and repair. And now we are at the point where Lathans is just about to take over the lead here in points as well. BRDM2 could come around soon, maybe. TO55 is pushing forward currently with a couple of BMP2s. No recon whatsoever, that's an issue. But outside of that, the situation is going pretty well here.
Yeah, the seed here, once actually getting out one of the OSAs here, and with its 50% accuracy, pretty short range anti-radiation missile.
Yeah, the SU-32 on the other side gets a BMP2, but the TO-55 push is too much on its own already. T80's not even really being involved right now. They can shoot down the Mi2 here, most likely in a second as well. HE Bomber can't dive from that angle with the mountain in front of it, so struggles to get the hit out here as well. Merida pushes in, but they get overwhelmed here by just the sheer numbers as well. The Fagots coming in, the Pichota getting into range, the whole situation not optimal for Lathans, but totally acceptable, as he still keeps on getting kills against the red side and planting their capabilities further and further. The T80 BVs finally start to get a bit involved here as well. No CV in the whole situation still, so the point doesn't get captured, but Lathans doesn't need that. He is in winning territory now, and that is good enough already.
Yeah, Lathans has 6 CVs on board right now. There is nothing that Lathans is lacking, really. And sending the TO-55s and BMPs to do a little bit of a suicide mission is just a standard way of keeping your enemy occupied when you're having too many units. You send them there, and you know that they're going to lose, but you're still going to force the enemy to deal with them. You're still going to force them to move their units and reveal themselves, and that is a way of keeping them away from actually achieving it.
Yeah, the Z-Moto leaders in the, or Recon in the middle, get overwhelmed as well, get taken out. The Fagot not capable of killing any of the T80s, so they can just move on, expand more ammo on the other side, force them to just spending that into targets that are not worthwhile hitting with Fagots, really. And with that, the lead here does continue. Lathans about to get the W here, and we still see Seolscotter playing on, but at this stage Seolscotter would need to get a lot of zones at once to turn this game around, and that's not gonna happen. Like, if it's only would be about him holding on to Boris, there could be a way there maybe, but this is not at all what this game is about at this stage, and with that, Lathans is getting closer and closer to fully finishing the game off.
Yeah, I mean, Lathans just deserve it. Sueloskunta did not want something that actually counters 79th. They wanted to win in their own way. They wanted to beat the 79th on the 79th map with the 79th player, Lathans, and they wanted to do it in a way that is very much uncharacteristic of this map. So looking at how they reached the 1300 points, it is impressive in and of itself, and it is not. It is impressive in and of itself, even though they always had to go perfectly to actually win. This is not like we're not playing Black Forest here, where you have like a massive, numerous massive close range environments with a sawmill at the town where you can grind down infantry. Every main engagement of this map is going to be a tank engagement of some kind, putting a Forge Mech into a really bad position. The more populated areas in the north are not necessary to contest over because most of the points are in the southern side. A weakness of this map.
Yeah, the T80 BVs now moving in here as well will move towards Boris to try to capture and finish it off with a +4 here. The +2 would be enough, but yeah, there are 4 CV tanks now on the battlefield, 2 BRDMs on the battlefield as well, so CVs for sure not an issue here for Lathans, and really a well-executed play out of Lathans, focusing on the main things. Got maybe a bit closer to having Seolscotter run away with just a point lead than he wanted it to be, but as he played for the KD from the get-go and he kept focusing on that, he did a really good job. The executed 2 hits were brutal, but as he got the trades beforehand to already get far ahead on the ground, it wasn't the big issue. So in the end here, the mechanized play of 79th, getting exactly where it needs to be. TDBVs can move forward here, get the next point captured, and just get the W for Lathans here in the end. 2 minutes 23 remaining, so Seolscotter playing it till the end, but the end is coming. And it's coming quicker and quicker now.
2 tank, 2 cube opener with Spetsnaz GRU and Rasvedka BMP2 and Recon helicopter, and you're set for most of the game there. Like the with the recon being so powerful, the 30-point Skithic openers, it just means that investing immediately into the heavy stuff, such as the T80s and the coops, can start paying off right at the start. You don't need to invest into a wide front line of infantry to secure the flanks. You're always going to know what's going to come, and the information is going to come soon enough that you can position your heavy equipment into its proper position. When a map is as methodical as this one, it takes so much to actually break through that kind of methodical meta gameplay. And we saw the breakthrough into Ivan, and then we saw that breakthrough getting fought back by because Ivan is very close to Lathans' spawn. So Lathans is going to have an inherent advantage both with aircraft as well as with reinforcements in fighting there. And not removing the Lathans' counterattack that did not manage to get into Paul did manage to kind of uh, put the Poles back on their feet, force them to stop running, force them to start dealing with that T80 attack. And then at that point, when the game was stabilized, it was just Lathans' time to methodically destroy the technologically inferior foe.
Yeah, really well executed play here by Lathans. Absolutely deserves the draw here and got the W in the second game here. And yeah, so it's got a really great game with the Rügenern game 1. Cool plan here for game 2. Just didn't get the ground engagements that he wanted though at the beginning from the get-go. The kills there went to Lathans on the ground. The only thing that actually got some kills were the Su-22s early on. But the helicopters immediately started dying. The infantry lost fight against Besnard's GIUs there on the ground. Things that are not supposed to happen like that. And yeah, the kills here really not happening for Sierra Leone outside of MiG-23s killing off helicopters and then Su-22s getting a couple of good cluster hits that got him closer to victory than it first looked at, but not close enough. And yeah, Lathans getting the draw here. Both, I guess, are pretty fine with that, sharing the points and have to get more Ws in upcoming matches. We're gonna jump back to a Honeykuma's match after this one against StarTax. So quick break, guys. Then we're gonna be back with another one. Yeah, a slightly longer break this time around. Need to use the restroom, and then we're gonna be back with StarTax versus Honeykuma's. So here we go, another series, and one that we had as a semifinal last season. Honeycombs versus Stardeck. Honeycombs here on the right side in red, bringing around Tariq Fontana versus 5th Plinde. Two of the top divisions at the moment against each other. Usually 5th Plinde gets ranked a bit higher, but 20th Fontana feels like a bit of a counter to it, so that is going to be interesting. But before we jump into all of that, quick shout out once more to the Matcherino page, guys, where you can help out funding the whole event, and you don't even have to pay anything to do so. You can just click the claim code button here on the top right and add free money to the prize pool, 25 cents per person. Everybody can activate it once. You can also contribute money if you want to contribute further by the contribute button above. Every little amount is highly welcome, getting us higher and higher and getting a bit more motivation for these players in here to play maybe even a bit better and prepare better for the WARNO League, as they will be the ones earning the prize money in the end. So let's see what is coming around here with this matchup. On the right side, the you have Polish here with a couple of T72s coming around from the get-go. On the left side, we have a big push of 5th Plinde versus Zulu as well. So is this going to be a standard map? What do you think about the setup here so far?
I think that, as you mentioned, the 20th Pancherna has gained a reputation as kind of the hard counter pick to 5th Blinde, which is due to the T72 being just powerful enough to beat the French in tank fights, but affordable enough to be able to get masked up. So the French general power in getting these light and medium strength units, whether it be your strong infantry, your VABs, your lighter tanks, AMX-30s, all of this stuff is counterable by a suitable number of T-72s, which means that the 5th Blinde can often be forced into buying like too many ATGMs for their tempo, too many bombers, too many early Mephistos instead of getting the offensive units. So it is possible for, if the opener goes well, the Honker Rus manages to pull a front line and the T-72s can arrive to fight it, that the French are put into a bad position from the very start. But this is not necessarily the most likely, as long as the French have AMX-10 RCs. Those things can, in the early seconds of the game, be kind of unstoppable. Even if they're spotted, they will likely be firing first, and they can maybe get some very key kills, which will then give Stardeck the confidence to actually go in there and take even better positions than usual. And that is when they want to be spamming the ATGMs to counter the impending T-72 spam. And the infantry of the French is better than the infantry of the Polish, 1-to-1, and the French have so much of their fire support is concentrated on HE, with the tanks having autocannons, and also the French have amazing artillery, but that may not be enough to counter a full force of T-72s. A big issue here is that the T-72Ms, the ones that are getting bought here in the first, do not have smoke launchers, which are crucial to actually survive against the French. But maybe the smoke launcher tanks will be bought later on when the ATGMs are also on the board.
Yeah, the French also have the one tank on the battlefield in the arsenal that actually can deal decently well. Oh no, wait, did it get removed? What?
Yeah,
Stardeck?
they don't.
Oh, it brought switched the Brennus out to a second Sublime. They have the same penetration, but obviously they don't have a staying power against the T-72s. But yeah, the 19 penetration of the Super Blinde and the Brennus are key to actually deal meaningful damage to the T-72s. The normal AMX 30 B2s with only 17 pen, they don't quite do that. And that's a massive issue because your number of Brennuses and Super Blindes is pretty limited, but the number of T-72 on the other side kinda isn't. So once you run out of those, the game is getting a lot tougher. The
Yes,
Honker is
Stardeck is doing really nice smoke play, firing a salvo of smokes and then moving forwards with the VAB to get them out there in the early. But the Surblinders were completely pushed away. They are out of the game for the moment. They ran off into safety. The Honker Russes and the Salamandra threat was more than enough to keep the French away. This is with the Honeycombs taking the southern position of Oscar completely uncontested. This is going amazingly well for the Russians here as compared to the Israelis. We have the Asiatic imperialists fighting here.
Okay, Roland 3 here, getting against the MI2 Europe, getting involved. Commandos getting involved. Will unload in a second. Super Blinde moving forward. But yeah, it's going pretty well for Honeycombs. Commandos get unloaded. Roland 3 trying to get the URP. Will try to get the kill there. Not successful yet. Hunkeroos, seeing everything here in the rear. Super well executed by our player in red here. Honeycombs seeing everything there in the spawn road now in a second. Jaguar seed coming around early on. Will try to find the Coop or the Shilka. I think it will fire on the Shilka first, but good reaction there as the Hunkeroos saw that coming in as well. So the Jaguar gets out microed there. Units turned off, not able to hit. And now the Commandos trying to push in there. They are good infantry. And the Super Blindes can help out a bit, but the T-72s already spot one of them, take them out one shot. First Super Blinde down without getting any kills. And the Honkeroos even killing the VAB in the rear now. This is a tough spot to be in now for Stardeck already. The MX-30B2 in the north, the leader there, the only tank around, and the two T-72s pushing against the MX-30 Prentice, MX-10 Super Blinde, and they get it pushed into the corner. It can't really do anything from there. The Commandos made it into town, but the reinforcement road is cut off, and no smoke coming in anymore. The Honkeroos even might get more kills. This is a complete disaster here right now for Stardeck so far.
Yeah, Stardeck sending a P4 PC into the back lines, and it's getting hunted down by the PKT, the machine gun armed recon helicopter, the James Bond killer. And yeah, the seed buy was kind of signals to me that Stardeck wants to transition into air here. And air transitions are very expensive, and they are not necessarily the best idea when your fights are going to be happening in this very small area, and your opponent has Coops and Shilkas, as well as a pretty decent air tab. Not the best one, but they can contest the French. Otherwise, like if that air transition doesn't work, the Seed and the future bombers will just be completely empty weight here. It is not really realistic to fight off an entire tank tab with an air tab, especially not when there are Coops on board. And the two T-72s being alive here, the reinforcements getting into position, and the land reinforcements are just a Commando, a Hot Missile, and a Brennus. This is looking very passive, worryingly passive for Stardeck.
Yeah, Stardeck got the Commandos into really good infantry fights. The infantry fights taken the Zulu zone were fantastic, and that at least gave a bit of value here. The Commandos allowed the MX-30B2 PC to get in there and get the zone captured, but that only stopped the tick. The Honkeroos and the MI2 US hunted down the P4 leader, so the southern zone still in control of Honeycombs here. And the Roland 3 gets a kill against the MI2 URP, and the BMP-1 goes down as well, but the northern flank here with the T-72s, with the T-55 is still the big issue. The Apilas voltageers get killed off as they were down to only one hit point. Get one hit there, but not enough to really threaten the T-72 of getting killed off. And the Commandos now running out of steam, taking too many casualties, and the infantry reinforcements here for Honeycombs too numerous. And as the reinforcement road for Stardeck is stopped, as looking like they will be pushed out of the zone in a pretty fast manner here once more, and the BMP-1 leader coming in again to capture the zone back, and that means that the +2 will continue soon, most likely.
Yeah, the Sapersi and the Piekotashmek completely units very good in this sort of fight where the priority and the micro priority for Honeykumis will always have to be the T-72s. Speaking of which, getting a free Apila squad there with a BAB, very nice kill. The Stardeck smoking out the fire position is it's a good idea, but it's also kind of signal of weakness, knowing that even with this large concave here, they does not want to engage the T-72s. It's not even trying to do damage to them. But this T-72s are not going to go away. You're just not going to be able to permanently get rid of them. In an attack happening around the southern angle with the AMX-10 and Dragon Paras trying to take some positions, and the southern part of the town is unoccupied for now with Polish troops. But the T-72 M1, supported by recons and a Salamandra here, even most likely going to put a stop to this. Alouette is moving into the southern town, but there is a Shilka waiting for it if it just gets moved a little bit.
Yeah, TRM 2000s getting sold. Alouette will get just shot apart in the south, and the forces really lacking here right now for Stardeck to make any move towards the northern town. The MX-10s not really using their maneuverable warfare here well, as this is not a map for them to do that. The MX-10 are seen pushed back. The range advantage of the French not easy to use on this map. T-72s really have amazing spots on it, and the commandos being pushed out here completely in the north is a massive issue now, as getting back with force into the zone would need a lot of capabilities here, and I think the only realistic way of maybe doing it is in a long grind with artillery, but the late game here isn't really that much different for these two divisions. As I said earlier, the MX 30B2 Brenners running out of numbers after you lose the first couple is a big issue here for the French. And yes, they maybe have a bit better infantry and a bit better air for the late game and the slightly better artillery piece, but the Polish get good stuff there as well, and they have the T-72 numbers, so I just don't see how you get easily back here as the French.
Yeah, T-55 scoring a hit against command. The Piekotashmek are they're 40-point infantry units, and they're pretty decent, and they're just not uh, worthwhile targets for the tanks to be shooting. So when the tanks are firing at the Piekotashmek, that is revealing to Honeykumis where the tanks are, which means that the T-72s can engage, get a single hit, and with only 10 armor of the AMX-30, that's significant damage. In 9 armor for the standard variants.
Yeah, MX-10 Hot here getting killed off by Fagot ATGM as well. Those pretty decent in this matchup as well. They can one-shot the MX-10 RCs. They can one-shot the MX-10 Hot. So really solid matchups for the Fagot as a super cheap and affordable, spammable ATGM launcher here in this matchup too. They have a good couple of bad matchups, but this one is not one of them. So the French here struggling quite hard to stay in the fight. Start a counterattack in the south. That could be something that could swing these things if they can get a bit of a maneuver warfare on in the south and maybe overwhelm the town, but that's a big if, as Apila's infantry immediately gets sniped by an SPG-9 position, and that means that the maneuver capabilities of the French stopped immediately. Once more, the recon trying to find stuff, but BMP-1s and SPG-9 in a really solid spot there, killing off the MX-10, killing off the helicopter, and yeah, it doesn't look like the French are easily getting into the southern zone either, as air superiority currently with the Polish as well.
Yeah, the increasing number of coups is just a like you pay 330 points. That's a little bit more than a single minute's income, and you are going to be microing those units on and off against seed planes. But outside of that, like yeah, you won the air. The enemy is never going to do enough damage with their planes to out efficiency your 330 points of coup investments.
The Roland 3s here trying their best. MX-10P gets through into the southern zone now, but the Jaguar HE got shut down there by the air, so even that was bought for a hefty price to be able to enter the town, and the town fight is not even won yet by Stardeck. Stardeck needs to get more value here, and that is going to be tough as T-72s and BMP-2s are already brought up as reinforcements here for the town fight, and with the Apilas infantry not being around, the special capabilities that the French can bring around that can be really helpful in these kind of scenarios is not here. It's only escort without any AT and eclairs with the classic LRAC, which is decent for sure, but not something that threatens the T-72 all that much. And yeah, the North completely fought to a stand. No MX Auf ones on the battlefield yet, which would be maybe the tool that could start grinding away on the enemy, but the moment you get into the MX of 1, the enemy knows that they can invest into the Danas as well, and then it's just a question about who can find the slightly better artillery hits. You don't really have a massive advantage there either, and that's a big issue here right now for the French.
Yeah, the interestingly vetted up escort PCs coming with the AMX-10s, I believe, the kind of security troops working here. The problem is that the Eclairers are the only units with AT weapons, so this attack has absolutely no future as long as Honeycomb does not micro against that single AT launcher that they have there. Jaguar Seed getting pushed off here, and the MiG-21 getting a hit of a Roland 3. No movement really, very little, no aggression happening at all up north. So Stardeck most likely going to move into a straightforward attack down south, and which should speak of something, because even the southern attack has now been completely crushed.
Yeah, T-72 gets the MX off one hot there. The all infantry that has AT got killed off, so the MX-30B2 Brennans here likely gonna lose out against the T-72s, as there's 2 of those versus only one MX-30, and even in a 1v1 situation, the MX-30 likely would lose here. Could try to hunt for some side shots here, wildly driving around the building. Bomber does get decent damage, gets hit though on the way out, and there is still more infantry here. MX-30 gets a kill against 1, but second T-72 is driving into them as well. Will aim up here.
No, it's getting out.
Saperji gets a good hit there, and there we go. Leader tank goes down. We have another Grenadier Voltigeur coming in, this time without Apilas though. The Apilas infantry being sniped time and again before they get into any good position. Really a big issue here for Stardeck. Those are the units that make the French so strong in town fights for tank division, that they can force any BMP or T-72 to avoid the town completely, or risk getting one-shotted or at least two-shotted. And the other infantry here can't quite give that same capability, and that is a big problem. SU-22 around here as well. Jaguar a seat gets pushed back. Rolands and Mistrals find the kill there, but at the same time MX-10RC goes down on the on the ground, and the +2 here does continue for Honeycombs, and this is a big issue for Stardeck.
Yeah, T-72 M1 moving into the west part of the southern forest here, going to engage these tanks most likely, and it's going to do that from cover, and it's going to get an immediate shot against the Brennus. And yeah, that's those tanks smoking off for the moment. Jaguar AT does not get sight, and actually gets Gun AA, the shield cast, fires a burst against it. Now with another coup here, the airplay in the south is also going to be immediately for.
Yes, we will see more BMP2s coming up. We will see a coup now coming in as well. So the AA situation is really solid now for Honeycombs in the south as well. North was good a long time ago. Jaguar goes down, another air loss without any value generated. And the T-72s from that forest position now have a pretty strong start. Get a hit against the MX-30B2, kill off a Grenadier in a VAB once more, and the retaliation here not all that strong. Jaguar AT trying to come around, but loses line of sight, immediately gets hit by the coup again. The Brennus trying to push through the open, have to be careful of Conquerors ATGMs flying against them, and more ATGMs coming up here for the 20th Panzerna. More and more IFVs, and the T-72 number is low, but it is strong enough plate that the AMXs run completely into it as well. AMX-30 leader goes down. The trades here really never going Stardex way here so far, and that is a massive issue. Really well executed 20th Panzerna play, showing why we and other players like Tabir's Rancor identify it currently as a counter to the Polish, to the French. The French, as I said, on average, I still believe a bit better, but in this matchup, the Polish are in a really strong spot.
Yeah, just like all the small things, such as the BMP ones being having the Malutka M missile, which penetrates easily the actually two-shot standard AMX-30s, I believe, and that's only a 25% unit. And then the French bonus, which is the tank autocannon. It's going to be firing at units with low tech infantry weapons with larger availability than and cheaper, and also like bad AT weapons. So the damage that an extra weapon such as the Malutka with the BWP1 is crucial. It is a hard counter to the most important units, even the most important units of the French, and the French bonus weaponry is just doing damage to the stuff that is most wanting to take damage in the Polish composition. And the Salamandras, I don't know if they get the Gniewo, the 20th Panzerna, which are the Mi2s with the Strelas. But
No.
even then, they only get the Forschmeck. But even the existence of the Malyutka and the fact that the Malyutka M ATGM with the Salamandra is just is actually a serious threat to all the French vehicles. That kind of stuff, it's just a force multiplier that makes them a perfect counter.
Yes, the Fagot ATGMs here, as I said earlier, good against a lot of units on the other side as well. Dealing decent damage against the AMX-30s, one-shotting the normal AMX-10RC, the AMX HOTS, the AMX-10s piece, all of those getting one-shot killed there, and the T-72s just having a really good matchup here as well. The infantry, good enough to deal with the French ones as well. They're not the top-level infantry, but they deal decently well with the French one in a cost-efficient manner, and the early game with the recon rush being able to get spots on the battlefield, the Mi2s with autocannons being able to deal with the AMX-10s without the AMX-10s being able to shoot them down. Like, there are a lot of small things that make this matchup go pretty well for a division that is already pretty strong, and that means that for once the French are not the favorite division in this matchup.
Yeah, there could maybe the early pivot to air. There could be maybe some tasteless comments I could say about Israelis expecting the win just because they have airplanes, but yeah, the going against that very expected Kub line. Kub is the AA unit of the moment right now, and combined with the tank division meta, leading divisions to counter tank divisions with airplanes, having these long range and very affordable and also pretty easily resupplyable in many divisions units as mainstays. I've always been a Kub fan, even if the Kub only has like 45% or 50% accuracy or whatever. It's more than enough considering its massive range and massive damage. And yeah, those. I don't know what the decision was there. I think the pivot may have been a little bit of a panic from Stardeck's part. Stardeck completely failing to get the early advantage that is expected, and then thinking, oh man, I have to do something, and then that something is the Jaguar seed.
Yeah, the air investment into the seed plane. I think if he would have gotten a kill against the Coupe, he could have tried to take it away, but he obviously didn't. And then a single seed plane is just a weird unit to have around. Like, it can't really get you any major advantage on the ground, and if it doesn't get the first kill against the Coupe, the enemy will bring another one around, and then you you won't be able to spiral it out of control with the next time you buy it around either, and likely get it shut down if you push too deep. So yeah, it was maybe a bit of a gamble by Stardeck, seeing that the game already wasn't going his way, trying to maybe find another way to victory, wasn't able to do that, and now the situation in the south just goes completely sour. He is still holding on here to the outskirts of the town, but the trades are just not going his way. The northern part of the fight has been completely abandoned by both sides. Stardeck still trying to do stuff here with smoke play, but the situation is not developing in his favor.
Yeah, the just once again, just zooming away, and you realize which side has been constantly losing units, and which side's engagement positions look more like a concave, and which ones are the convex. These, especially on this map here, like I everybody knows this. I am almost tired of complaining about it myself, but I hate two lakes. We all hate two lakes. It's way too simple. The immediate early game engagements that happened with the AMX-10s basically ended up setting the game almost perfectly. Everything afterwards has just been a direct result of that stopping of the all in. The uh, I dislike the fact that these games, the longer they become, the less there is to do on the map, and that is the case with most maps. But with Two Lakes, like it's like immediately after the opener, there's so little to do.
Yeah, and if Two Legs makes it into the next rank pool, I will hunt down everybody individually who voted for it. If you voted
Yeah,
for
and you
two,
have access to the lists. I'm sure you could gain them. They are with Eugen. Oh,
yeah,
by the way, go make a Eugen website email account thing and go vote for the next season's maps if you still can, and do not vote for Two Lakes.
yeah. I beg you guys, don't vote for Two Legs. Vote for everything else. Even Death Row is better than this map. Uh, get us get us out of this misery that we have been in here for the last 5 seasons of having this map showing up way too many times by now over the last 4 years, and it has been figured out for 3 years straight by now, and the games by now often just evolve into this quick rush in the early game, and then one side slowly but surely crumbling away based on the result of that early rush, and that's exactly what we have here once more. And yeah, it's a map that really is pretty standard, so that's why people still play it, because they know how to play on it and they don't want to risk anything. But it's also just a map that always goes the same way, more so than even maps like Death Row or Vertigo, and it's just a really boring map to watch from the sideline like this right now.
Yeah, here we have the Chasseurs driving into the ATG, and Polish AT managing to get some kills finally. And yeah, now oh no, they're getting the third one as well. Yeah, this is just kind of a technicality at this point. The Stardex troops are still in the southern town, and artillery does the Alpha 1 goes on board and does a lot of damage, but there's just too many units in position, and even if every single infantry unit from the town was taken away here, the larger defensive line against the mech would have still held.
Yeah, and in the end, Honeycombus, aka Scuff, does win here once more, and Starlight does lose in this first game here. MX-10RC did do a bit of decent damage there, but the rest of the forces here not really able to get much value. T-72s and T-55s on the other side being used really, really well, how you should use them. And yeah, all the class cannons on this map not really able to use their potential, because there was a Fagot or Malyutka ATGM flying into their face anywhere they went. And yeah, really well executed play here by Harikumas, and well-deserved victory. Let's see if Stardeck can find a better matchup in game number 2, and maybe a better opener, and we maybe can get a bit more of an interesting game there. So quick break, guys, then we're going to be back with game number 2. So here we go again. Static versus Honeykumis. Game number 2. And we are on Vertigo. Another classic standard map. And we are here with the new Hotshot division with 20th Panzer on the right side versus the veteran division. The division that dominated WARNO play for such a long time. It finally has fallen out a bit out of favor over the last year with third US here. And it's just about to come back a bit though. Like we see it a good bit more again. And Static is one of the reasons why playing the uh, really efficient units that cost a lot though back into the action, like the Apache, like the Kiowa Warrior, like the M3A1 Bradley. You have so few units, but the individual capabilities of the third US units are unbeaten by anything else that is currently in the game and likely ever to come. It most likely will stay the top high-tech division in Warno until the end of Warno stays, and that will be interesting to see against the cost efficiency mid-tier spam that 20th Panzer can bring to the map. There's no better map, I would say, than Vertigo for third US, but let's see if it can hold out against the S-tier division on the other side.
Yeah, the huge thing with the third US is its weakness in the opener. That being the ultimate juggernaut, it used to have Lurs, the LRS spec ops. It used to have mech rifles, even it used to have a lot of stuff that slowly have been removed from it to actually make it balanced in the meta. And there are still some interesting picks here. The Fist V, a 15-point. Very good optics recon unit that can basically just provide some free recon with mediocre stealth. The Kiowa Warrior, which is the assault recon unit with the Hellfires, a standard OH-58 Scout, and then the Bradley. All of these, this means that there is at least 4 cards of recon, probably more here, and recon will have to carry the way here, will have to prevent incursions and pushes by the Honker Rus. The Honkers will try to use their massive speed to gain early ground, uh, because that early ground that is taken will eventually be filled with 3 lines of ATGMs and soldiers, which is exactly what the third armor doesn't necessarily want. The third armored wants to sit back here, not live behind a tick, and wait for their Abrams numbers to grow. Losing a single Apache is not going to be like a massive problem here, but if you lose an Eagle, if you lose an Apache, suddenly like a lot of your opener points are just not there. The the MiG-21 getting a hit against the Eagle having to retreat here. Once again, it's not crucial, but there are a lot of helicopters for Honeykumis, and that Phantom may not be able to take out all of them.
Yes, it is still nice though that the Apache and the Kiowa Warrior will get through alive. The Apache can deal both with the MI2s if necessary, but especially with the Ross Specialities on the ground. And that is a big start. I like the Fist V recon. It is not a great recon unit per se, but it is cheap, and you need some cheap units in this division. Phantoms starting to do their job. We have 3 Phantoms out here. Air supremacy play here coming out of the third US. You pretty much need that. Otherwise, the Su-22s will bully your Bradleys, will bully your Abrams. So getting air advantage early on here is quite key, and Stardeck invests a lot into that. But with a CV coming in for the northern zones already, and his Bradley's getting into position here further away on the south, giving up Alpha, he is fine with that. He does get a decent amount of kills, but the situation here is kind of okay for Stardeck when it comes to just the capture point spots and space in general as well. Apaches plus Phantoms do a decent enough job there, as Honeykumis now will break through in the south though.
Yeah, the fire team leader gameplay is very interesting. The fire team leader with its transport is only 55 points and is probably the fastest land transport that and most efficient that you can get as third armored. So in this opener, when every single point needs to be saved to allow for the airplay and the Apaches, the leaders being simple fireteam leaders is very innovative. I'm a really big fan of it. Those things have laws and they have smoke grenades, and they can't fight against other infantry, of course, but they don't have to as long as there are Bradleys and helicopters around the place.
Yes, Bradley Recon smokes off now as the T-72s come around, but the fireteam leader, it's an infantry tab unit though. You don't have a lot of infantry slots, but that's something that we know from Stardeck for a long time now. That Stardeck is not somebody who plays uses all the infantry slots for infantry in the tank tab with as much numbers as possible. No, he really embraces the tank division gameplay and even upvets the infantry units there, takes an infantry leader card. Sure, then you only have 4 cards with only like 20 infantry units, but you don't need more if you just use those on defense and play with your other units, your Apaches, your M1s, your Recon Bradleys, your Phantoms, to actually be the fist to strike the enemy, and just use your infantry with the Bradleys on the defense that they come in with.
Oh, look at the reinforcements. There are 2 coups already coming in here. The opener showing the hand of the air spam for third armored is now getting immediately countered by the coups. Now, I'm not sure because I have never played third armored. Do they get seed?
Yes, they get seed, I believe. It might have been removed, I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter because they also don't get a good attack planes. Like, they only get pretty terrible Phantom Bombers, so bombers are not the real play here for the 30US. This is not trying to be an air spam division. It's more an air superiority gained by the Phantoms and the Eagle so that the ground units can actually strike. I don't think we will see many attack planes coming around, but the Apaches need to be protected, and the M1s need to be protected, and that's what the Phantoms do. That's what they have achieved. SPG-9 in the north for Honeykumas will go down as well. Fireteam leaders actually being used as a fighting unit because they are the only infantry unit on the ground in the whole northern area of the map. So that's pretty ballsy, but it does work out here. Stardeck really having no unit on the ground that he can afford to lose. But he's not losing any, so it's working out right now.
But looking at Stardeck's reinforcements, there's nothing visible. Is it all just inside the air tab, like you said? Like there's barely any fighters left to buy from what we've seen. Now another Eagle is coming down here, and they. I'm just a little bit worried about the lack of Bradley and Abrams on board. We're 5 minutes in already, and the have been a single Bradley has been bought. So
Yeah, couple of reinforcements for the north, some resupply there coming in for the Apaches. Kiowa Warrior, though, getting another unit killed here. Red still has so much more on the ground here. T-72 not able to push towards India, or at least not attempting to do. It might even be possible, but Han Kumas doesn't know what we know. Like, they don't know how little there actually is in the southern zone. And they don't have that many units to spare here either, so they don't know that if they actually would push, they maybe could have gotten into the rear zone here, into India, and give Stardeck the time here to actually get the reinforcements they need to get around here. Honkarus moving around, might fight the Fist V, might be able to deal with that as well. But yeah, the fire team leader as the frontline units here, holding the ground for Stardeck. This is impressive play, and yeah, it is working out for now. I mean, even in the air tab, they have 6 fighter cards, so they can't even afford any real other units. They use the Phantoms now for ground attack rolls against the Honkarus. That strafing will be able to deal with them, though the coups are a problem. I don't expect we will see any seed planes here, but yeah, Honkarus goes down. So let's see what is coming out of Stardeck here. Is Stardeck just saving up for a big tank investment once they know where the enemy is going to be around? Or are they going to do anything else here? Shilkas and Strellas sitting around, pushing back the Eagle as the coups numbers come up as well. It seems like Stardeck is just saving up here right now to get an M1A1 HA push ready and rolling. Not giving the enemy also any time to bomb those tanks because they're not on the battlefield. You can't bomb what's not there.
that is true, but also if you need those tanks, let's say in like 3 minutes when an attack happens. You don't want to be buying those. You want to be moving them into position. And the like even if the fights are going to happen around India, which is pretty close to the spawn, there's still going to be that's still going to be a gap which the Honeycombs can probably exploit pretty well.
Yes, but Honeycombs doesn't know that. Like, that's the big thing. Like, we know that because we see it, but Honeycombs obviously would expect that something got bought there. Like, you don't expect your enemy to do what StarTech is doing here right now. So you would expect, okay, I'm just not having good enough recon here. Where are the units? Constantly scared, actually staying on the defense like Honeycombs is doing right now. Slowly pushing into a northern zone that you could just overrun quickly. Not pushing into India that you could just overrun quickly. Because, yeah, you have imperfect information, unlike us in this position. Apache getting routed. That's a big issue here for StarTech. It does get pushed back. It's a rocket Apache. It can't use any ATGMs against enemy ground units, so yeah, gets pushed back there. And here we go. Fist V's, Bradleys, M1A1HAs, Bradleys, mortars, chaparrals, and pivots. And that is
we're pioneering the floating strategy, float meta.
Yeah, the only other player that has plays like that before that we have seen is Dark Neutron, and he does it later in the stage. Like, nobody does that at the 5-minute mark. Like, nobody saves up this amount of points from minute 2 to minute 9 in the game. This is a completely wild thing to do from StarTech here. But here we go. 4 M1A1s, 3 of them HA, with Bradley, with Fist V's coming in. Let's see if it works out. I can't see how it's not going to work out. They have the air supremacy. The fighters are likely going to be up again. And, I mean, how are the T-72s on the south here supposed to hold against that?
With aircraft, I think, but yeah, I think the air supremacy and hunting down every single helicopter has been so crucial for the strategy to work. Just a single recon heli, just a single Salamandra, going out there and finding that there really is not that nothing really doing the defense. That could have completely switched it off. And yeah, the early mass investment into aircraft, even though it did lead into the coups getting bought, the purpose for them probably was just having absolute air supremacy, even at the risk of losing those planes. Now, will this strategy? There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna be killed by the M1s, but will this will not really have that much effect on the northern part of the map. And Phantom getting shot down here, Eagles coming down here also to do strafing work with the 2 Phantom clusters. Actually, you mentioned these are maybe the best ones of the bad bombers, only 175 points.
Yeah, getting 2 coups killed, meaning that the Eagles now have air superiority in the south. Oh my god, getting an M3A1, that's the perfect upscale kill there for Honeycombs. But yeah, at the same time, now the HAs come around, will push forward. Honeycombs haven't quite realized what's going to happen here. Is actually the one pushing in, and that's a massive mistake. Saperji's pushing into the smoke. T-72 moving forward against 4 heavy tanks here, rolling in. And yeah, capital punishment has arrived. T-72 M1 will get absolutely smoked there. Cluster HE bomber MiG-21's coming around, getting 1 HA. The fighters on the blue side, not around. A Phantom in a weird spot on the bottom, flying towards the spawn, not engaging the MiG-21s here. As yeah, 1 HA Abrams gets killed off, but the general trades here still heavily in favor of StarTech, though taking enough damage that he can't just roll on forward with the whole force for now. As 1 HA is low, Pivot got damaged, Bradley got damaged, a decent amount of stress, so it seems like Honeycombs did buy some time to get a bit more defensive units down here. We see more BMP-1s, more T-72s coming up. But as he still hasn't penetrated the position in the north that StarTech has there.
The command was just given for the BMP-1 recall there.
Yeah. Right. Kiowa Warrior, though, still around here. Still being able to snipe units like that. Shilka trying to find a way. BMP1 gets shut down though. And the fire team leader, the only units there on the ground for Stardeck holding 2 zones. This is really insanely on the knife's edge gameplay, but that's kind of what you have to do when you play 3rd US. You can't afford expensive units easily. Your cheap units around them are pretty limited, but Stardeck found a way to make it work just by playing with expectations of the enemy and the lack of knowledge that you have as a player in WARNO, and really using those expectations that Honeykumas has against Honeykumas really, really well here.
Yeah, the Shilka did not manage to take out the Kiowa warrior, ran out and is currently landed there. The very, very slow incursion of Honeykumis into the north kind of needs to start charging up, because the first reinforcements are still a little bit away, but there is money on the table right now, and you can grab it. Grabbing a cluster bomber there and making sure that the coups will be able to survive even into the later stages.
Yeah, F4E Phantom push back. We still have a lot of smoke screens coming up here from Stardeck, making the whole southern area fuzzy for both players to really set up. But now Stardeck is pushing into the close range fights, has the cheap 15 points recon to spot any units firing onto the Abrams so that the Abrams can retaliate. Fireteam 84s coming around as well. They are not good against other infantry, but they are decently cost efficient with the 84 and just something to find enemy units with. As the Abrams here now keep on rotating around. Stardeck being extra careful there. Only took 1 damage of on the hit point, but already rolling back a bit with his units, trying to get them resupplied. A lot of supply on the battlefield. Mortars keep on coming in. Bradley under fire by Adana in the north. Might go down. T-55A goes down immediately though. And there's not a lot of forces here left that can stop an M1A1. Not even speaking of an M1A1HA. Fagots are not the units to do it. And the T-72 number is down to 2. And even those need to get pretty close and obviously won't win a 1v1. As the T-72M gets immediately smacked here by the HA. 22 penetration, 21 frontal armor. This thing hits hard. And likely, yeah, takes out the T-72 again. This push off Stardeck is looking scary. Honeykumas has taken the northern town, or has gotten into the northern town at least, but hasn't gotten the take on there yet. But Stardeck is about to overtake the position in the south, so will get a take that way. Gets to +1, about to get to a +2, and just starts to take out all the red units here.
Yeah, the smoke play here is pretty crucial, I think, for this Abramses, because even if they don't take damage, the suppression damage they gain from getting hit by Malyutkas and Fagots is still very relevant. Getting stunned can be pretty bad for you, and the significant speed, reload, and accuracy issues that you gain with low cohesion are still relevant even with expensive units. And now a brave T-72 going out there in the front line and getting a hit from a HA Abrams, getting shot down, and the infantry moving into the smoke largely to just make sure that that any tank gets slightly punished and stunned if it drives in there. But yeah, now that these engagements have gone up north, a leader is moving in, and most of the northern area is already under Honeykumis' control. But with Malutkas and Shilkas and BMP-1s and Sapezi moving to defend, the technological disadvantage is really starting to show here.
Yes, and we have more HA Abrams coming up, and the ones on the battlefield, there is not enough firepower. Like, the thing is, with the 20th Polish, you usually want to get enough firepower to be able to overwhelm an Abrams in one engagement, then recharge to overtake the next one in the next engagement, and just keep that going in like a 1 minute 15 rhythm, so that the enemy Abrams number never gets all that high, and you can start getting decent cost efficient fights against them. But as the Abrams were never on the battlefield to be killed, that couldn't happen early on, and by now the Abrams' death ball here is just trading too well, and the Polish don't have enough firepower on the battlefield to even take on a single M1A1, let alone 5. And this is a big issue.
Yeah, the Malutkas are getting in positions there, and if they can get a side shot against an M1, the damage will be decent enough. If they get, but most importantly, the suppression damage will be able to shut them down and make them less effective in fighting against some of the tanks. The tanks might be able to do the damage, or maybe the stun can be exploited by helicopters or bombers. And the Polish infantry anti-tank weapons are abysmal, and the Saperzi even have the Komar, the comical Polish invention AT weapon Panzerfaust thingy, and those things have the disadvantages of both the disposable launchers and the reload time of the reloadable launcher. So if any of those things hits, they might do 2 damage at a side shot.
Yeah, Blackhawks coming in. We see M1A1 AHAs disengaging, Bradley being shot here in the south as well. OH-58 Scout moving in again with a couple of Blackhawk reinforcements coming in as well. Picotta and Saperji on the front line being hit, being destroyed. Saperji getting smacked as now we have the Abrams blob just rotating around. And yeah, this is the dream of every third US player. This is where you want to be at. And getting there is usually such a perfect score Ozu or Dance Revolution game of just having the perfect moves every single time, getting S rank in every single engagement. But if you just avoid taking the engagements completely, that is the way to getting here as well. Like Stardeck just saying like you can't hurt what isn't there, but you still will fear it. You still will fear the shadow of a potential M1A1 and a Bradley being there. It is the perfect play for this game. I don't think you can repeat the strategy all that often because at some it completely develops around the enemy knowing the basic and knowing that you are capable of playing the basic way. And if you play it this way, then the enemy can easily adjust to it and just push you. But it didn't happen this time around because Honeycombers didn't know what's going to happen here. And this way, 30US is still the king. If it gets into a position like that, there is no division better than it.
Yeah, I think the core thing that Stardeck may have kind of realized is the reliance on helicopters to do the kind of work that would have helped Honeycombs realize what was going on. The hunting down of the helicopters and investing so much of them, I started the game critiquing it, but I'm pretty sure that realization is what allowed Stardeck to do this. The Hunger Russes were the second unit that went around and tried to push and tried to gain information, but the Hunger Russes were also actively and aggressively hunted down by the Apaches and the OH-58s even. Just making sure that the units that generally do the task of forward recon just were not around there, and I think Honeycombs was kind of paralyzed by this. Right now we have an Eagle camping here against the MiG-21 Beast, taking out one, taking maybe the second fighter here, and with the Abramses moving in from the safest direction, I believe, which is the south to northeast, and making sure that they don't have to engage the straight up front line, but they can engage the longest possible engagement radius. There's no way the T-72s can handle that. The T-72s want to get closer than necessary even, so that the kinetic penetrators can actually do something.
Yes, M1A1 there gets damaged, but can disengage again. There's no side shot potential anymore. The Malutka on the side has been dealt with, and now the Abrams just can roll off the whole flank from the side here. Nothing can really deal with them frontally, and all the side shot potentials have been negated outside of maybe some slight micro mistakes of them, showing sidearm in the wrong moment, but If you just micro him correctly here, there's no way of dealing with them frontally. T-72 M1D goes down. We have an SU-22 AT getting a missile out, getting a kill against an M1A1HA. No fighter here right now, flying around. That's a good bit of a mistake here, but Chaparral at least stops it from getting a second missile out, and the ground units here still taking out the enemy T-72s without issue. There are still 2 HA Abrams here. Apaches coming around, more M1 A1HAs coming around from the rear, and the infantry pushing through the smoke now, really threatening the position now as well. Shilka's not moving forward. Finally, Shilka, okay, getting down to the engagement. This is the moment where the aircraft troopers here need to disengage. SU-22 still dangerous, gets shut down this time around. I'm surprised we don't have a Phantom or a F-15 flying around here anymore. Honeycombers did threaten the northern reinforcement lines, has a +2, like, is still playing the best they can from this position. Still getting the point lead here and hoping to buy as much time as possible with the 20th Polish, just having combined arms till the end of the day. But the play here from Starlek looks like they still might be able to roll over everything here. 16 minutes to go. That's the potential saving grace here for Honeycombers. That time runs out here.
The landed Apache is getting targeted. No, the Maliut is not here. And yeah, now once again the Eagles going down. There's so much strafing happening. The Phantoms and the Eagles have the largest amount of gun ammo in the game, with 640 and 920 respectively.
Yeah, getting pushed back here once more though, and one Eagle goes down, one Apache goes down. That was not an efficient trade for the 3rd US. That's always the issue with 3rd US, that if you just lose a single unit, it can be instantly a cost-inefficient trade, because you need to kill 3-4 enemy units to make it worthwhile, that one loss. So even just losing a single unit randomly can make a whole situation bad for you. But the HAs are around here now again. One coming from the front, the 2 in the south have been repaired, coming up with the leader tank. And I don't quite see how much longer the Polish can hold on to this. As where I would have liked to see a Phantom still being around here in the sky right now to help out against any more of the SU-22s coming around. But for now the situation is decently fine. Apache flying around, Bradley helping out with the recon things as the M1s get into the position, start shooting up stuff. T-72 from the flank gets stopped by the Apache. M1A1HAs pushing forward, getting side-shotted there by the BMP-1, taking...
T-72's machine gun doing amazing damage against the Apache. Like, it's a low cohesion and 3 health out. Like, that's actually pretty big. Like, if the Apache goes down, the T-72 will be able to at least widen the front line and threaten side shot.
Yeah, F-15 now coming around here. Has to be careful with all the coops around, but goes towards the spawn again, so that nothing can spawn in, threatening these tanks now as they are pushing into the zone. More kills against coops, against Trellas, BMP-1s. The combined arms here in the forest starts to fall apart for Honeycombers. Ooh. Supply UH gets beaten. Apache with the Hellfire does miss again here. Second Hellfire finds the stun finally. Next one finally finds the hit. As the next one goes into the other direction. Oh, mistake there. Mistake in targeting by the Apache. It actually goes down to the T-72. It at least made it combat inefficient, but that's still an unfortunate loss there. Well, it's the rest of the units still bulldoze forward, and Polish have an issue on the infantry. The infantry's best AT is 14 pen, so an M1A1HA frontally has absolutely nothing to worry about, and even a side shot is not lethal. So the M1A1 here can just grind down the infantry as well. They have good firepower against those infantry units with a 50 cal and an extra MG against all of those, plus the decent HE of the 420mm gun. And the position of Honeycombers is starting to fall apart here. HA deals with the T-72 on the bottom. The flank has been removed. Bradley still doing around, and the complete kill feed is red right now. The units will have to be repaired in a couple of seconds, but there's nothing left in front of them for the next push. And more A1A1s here, even coming in. Phantom does its job here in the rear, keeping the sky clean, and T-55As now being bought. Those do even worse than the T-72s.
Yeah, I just freeze there for a moment, but there's not really anything to commentate this. The Star deck managed to take third US into its win condition, which is simply enough numbers and stable enough front line that the enemy didn't have like 1900 points out there. It was very unconventional. It's not necessarily repeatable, and it really did. Even if it looked easy, I think the purposeful hunting down of all the recon assets was was the condition for this strategy to actually go out there. And when people hear that StarDeck does this, or that anybody else does this, they will be able to learn, and they will be able to prepare and apply the suitable amount of extra pressure that could have completely turned this game around.
Yeah, you might be able to use this on the ladder for the next 3 hours, guys. So if you are a third US fan and you want to use this strategy, use it now, because from tomorrow onward, it likely has seen by too many people to work again. So yeah, use it right now, or don't use it again until maybe 6 months down the road when people have forgotten about this potential to exist. And yeah, still analyze it. This is a really cool strategy. This is why we like Stardeck's plays. Like, he comes up with strategies that nobody else comes up with because they are so unconventional and they are still not without risk. Like, this could have still gone wrong if spotted at any given moment, but he made them work against one of the best players in the game here, finalist of last season, the guy who did beat him in the semifinal last time around. So really impressive play here so far, and yeah, it's going to just come through here now, getting to the rear zone and getting the victory for good. He lost one M1A1 here in the front. He has to be careful. He doesn't have another CV right now on the battlefield. Bradley coming in. He still has 10 minutes, but the M1A1 on the front line obviously would be better if that could get in there right now and get the capture. It's down to 1 hit point because the Smack tries to get around to stop it, but M1A1HA is pushing forward. SPG-9 could be potentially dangerous as well if it just jumps forward, gets one shot, gets the kill. But the M1A1 CP about to get into the zone, about to get to take on here for Stardeck, and a +2 would already be enough. And there we go. Surrender right at the moment as the M1 touches, as Honeycomb knows with that KD difference, he won't be able to stop that anymore. And really well-deserved victory here for Static in this game too, leaving us with a draw in this series.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Apache rocket taking out 1, 2, 3, 4 recon units. The Phantoms, even the AA Phantoms, strafing down the Honkers, taking out the Salamandras here. Yeah, the I understand why you want to open with the Salamandras against third US, because third US does not have the numbers in the early game, so just overwhelming something with the Salamandras and the speed of the helicopters sure is something. But I still, knowing that there's basically nothing outside of a Bradley recon rush or a heli drop, uh, and the air opener that third US can really do against 20th. And I think Honeycomb is that was a mistake opening up with the MiG-21s. The MiG-21s were out there hunting for Apaches, and losing them is not that big of a deal. But yeah, I like you said, this is a new ground getting tread here, and I'm sure that everybody who is going to be playing against third US on a certain level are going to be sending those extra APCs up front, extra cheap units to just find the enemy for the moment.
Yeah, and that brings us to another series here, guys, now, where we gonna have another Sodios Gunter game. So, looking forward to that, guys. Quick break, and then we have the final series of the day. Yeah, so we are going on here for a good 3 hours already. So, yeah, a lot of WARNO content coming your way there. One more series to go. Let's have a look into that after a quick break, guys. So here we go. Series number 4 of the day. Sailor's Gunter versus Bottom Peter. And we are not disappointed as Sailor's Gunter is doing it again. It won him again the game against Lathans. So Rügener Gruppierung back on the menu. Though it's another Vertigo game where his 4th ZMAC didn't do so well last time around. And it is up against First UK, which is one of the top divisions for this map. So gonna be interesting to see how this goes. If you have a look at the group, that's not quite the group I was talking about. This is the one. Nope, this is not the one either.
Yeah, the other game though, that was Friday. It's a way better map for Rugener and for the kind of chicanery that Suelos Kunta wants to get up to. The small thin front lines and the long range engagements here are complete, as with the Foch mech, are not the optimal area for Rugener. Rugener does get good artillery. They get the coffin launchers and they get massed large amounts of ATGM still, so they can defend here. But once again, the opener just managing to get ground with Rugener is a really tough affair. First UK is a forward deployment division. It does have SAS patrols. It's got a lot of cheap recon autocannon vehicles like the Scimitars. I believe they get some Foxes maybe as well. Don't know if they're taking them though. And with this,
no Foxes in the division anymore. That has been a long time. You're living in 2022 here right now.
I might be, but also I stopped. That's when I stopped playing First UK. The Spartan ZB298 is an exceptional recon unit that is deployed right in front of the warrior appliques and challengers. There's also 2 Centurion AVREs, armored vehicle Royal Engineers, and the HE firepower that is going to be sent to the southern lane is just going to be immense. There's the KSKs are not going to be. You look at the deployment of the KSKs, and those things are on long-range defenses. These are close-range units. You're paying for satchel chargers and submachine guns. You're not paying for sniper rifles or the ability to counter enemy vehicles. So they're probably going to be eaten up by the Scimitars, and then the next wave of T-72 and T-55 will be fighting they will be numerically advanced, but with the recon being on the British side, the warrior appliques and challengers will probably be able to deal with them. First UK also has very good bomber aircraft, pretty nice air tab in general. And if you want to send something like cheap helicopters all around the place, First UK can likely counter it with Harriers. And even if they lose those Harriers, it's not going to be that big of a deal because the Harriers are cheap.
Yes, triple track drop here also makes helicopter plays from the later stages hard, at least in the offensive role. The Mi-14 obviously could still come around defensively, outranging those. But the Mi-8 here in the opener, I pretty much enjoyed that one. That is going to be interesting. It has Malyutkas, it has a lot of rockets, so it can deal with a Scimitar or 2, and at least keep them off away from the front line until your T-55As arrive. Issue is, how do the T-55s deal with the Challenger, and how do they deal with the Warrior Appliques? The Centurions, not that much of an issue, obviously. They don't hit tanks all that hard, they only stun them, but the Challengers and the Warriors are an issue. So the deep push that Sailor's Gunter here once more wants to achieve in the south, it's not going to be easy. MiG-23 comes around early on, killing off a Gazelle recon, not achieving much else, outside of maybe slowing down the track drop here just a bit, so the Mi-8 could use a bit more time here against the Scimitars. Scimitars smoking off though, Mi-8 should fall a bit back so that the autocannon can't immediately kill it off afterwards. Stuns down one Scimitar, will rocket down the next one, finds the kill against the first one. Really good position there for the Mi-8 in that spot. It has a lot of rockets, so can come in there for a while. Limb 6 coming around for the south, though likely going to be in track drop here range, not even killing the Scimitar. One going down, not sure if that was worthwhile, but at least the KSKs are in the spots they want to be. Conkers, Malyutkas, and T-55s nearly there. So can Cyril's going to get the push through here. Kills the scimitar in the middle there as well. Has the northern zone under control with one Aufklärer. MiG-23 around as well against the Tornado on the other side though. So usually the Tornado should win there. As I just baited it into dying there, but so does the MiG-23. Tornado barely survives there after getting hit by Estrella as well. Nearly cast a curse there. I'm pretty sorry for that, bottom feeder, but it did work out in the end. And the T-55s and T-72s here now, yeah, they're gonna struggle. Cluster needs to kill the Challenger, kills the AVREs instead. That's not the worthwhile target here. Tractor Pierce luckily not getting the kill, but the Challenger Mark II now, 3-vet with the leader close by. Gets stunned down immediately. That's unfortunate there. Not quite taking the engagement the right way. Commando goes down as well. Is this actually working for Soilos, Gunter? Is this another Wigner?
Very importantly, the cluster bomber killed the recon vehicle, and the only recon left here is the SAS patrol, and the SAS patrol has been spotted and is getting fired upon. Like losing the ability to really just like position your units perfectly allows the more aggressive player with the number of tanks, the T-55s, to actually get in there. A Jaguar HE2 and another Challenger are coming in here, but losing the SAS, there's going to be a drought of recon, and 3 more limbs are flying in. I think the value of the first limb attack was the reveal of how many Tractor Pierce there were. Because Tractor Pierce are not radar units. They take a little 2.5 seconds to actually fire, which is quite a lot, and unlike radar AA. So the limbs can maybe fly past them and not get hit. Not that one though.
Yeah, and it all fell apart. The Jaguar did get a triple kill against the T-55s on the ground. Those were supposed to be the warriors, get into the tree line and make that work, but the triple kill there with the bomber, that made it all irrelevant now. Like, yes, Soilos Gunter did do some good moves, but that bomber hitting his over-concentrated forces there and smacking 3 tanks at once, that turned it all around. Like now, the position here is pretty safe for the Polish, for the UK and
British.
Yeah, for the British, and the Brügner Gruppierung is pushed onto the defense in the south, and that's a massive issue. They don't have a tick going on yet. They have an SPW now coming in for the north, but this is nowhere near the tick that he had against Lathans, and he is not getting anywhere in the south anymore. This bomber run just made it all disappear here.
Yeah, there's supply for the T-72. There's a Malyutka in the south, Conquerors in the north, and the Conquerors going in the middle here. An overextension could maybe turn the tides here, but even then, I believe that overextension would likely require Soilos Gunter to do some air attacks, and with the 3 Tractor Pierce, that's going to be a costly investment with a Jaguar rocket coming in here to already just kind of supercharge the aggression here, taking out the Conquerors alongside with the Appliques and flying close enough to realize that there is no anti-air.
Yeah, taking one of the Ling 6 out of the equation as well. The other 2 flying into a Tractor Pierce. The cluster bomber coming along. Javelin LML there getting involved as well. Cluster plane coming in for the Tractor Pierce. They are pretty stacked. They all 3. Both sides here overstacking units a bit too much. All Tractor Pierce getting smacked. Oh, the air swings are crazy here. This might give a bit of a window of opportunity to smack the ground units here, to at least stabilize the front line for a bit longer, so that you can get the tick up in the northern zone, you can get stuff through that, but oh, that was such a mistake there by bottom feeder as well. You don't stack up until AA like that. Big mispositioning.
Those things were like, they were not immediately like very tightly close by that if an artillery had fired at them, that could have maybe been enough of a spread, but the cluster just spread perfectly, and it was also aimed right at the middle instead of one of those vehicles, I believe. Now with the Applique going out there, Challenger getting lost, T-72 in a nice position to prevent the mech from moving up. With infantry, Pieko the Shmek and the Malutka to help most likely move towards the southwest and then to flank the reinforcement road. This is a single track rapier. A track rapier is 100 points. It's not the most expensive unit here, but it's still more than enough to when you have to be buying these 100-point combinations of warrior appliques and armored rifle. Powerful combination that cannot counter a T-72 without a challenger also being nearby.
Yeah, Tornado stayed in the rear here, now being brought up to kill off an Mi-14. That's a good kill. Mi-14 is scary, though the Challenger Mark II at least can survive one hit of it. Krug in the rear, not able to kill off the Tornado. It ran out of ammo, and because it ran out of ammo, not using its hunt command to move forward to the front line. So hopefully, Soyulos Kunta will realize that and started moving it forward to get resupplied and be used again. Warrior Applique has to be careful with the Conquerors in the position there in the center of the map. Challenger not quite in the right spot. Warriors coming around. Soyulos Kunta finally on a +2 here. Slowly ticking up. But yeah, not having really any aggressive firepower here left. So I think Bottom Feeder just has to start playing this slowly but surely and methodically killing off the units of the enemy whilst getting more warriors, getting more challengers, getting more chieftains onto the battlefield, and just overwhelming the enemy with superior ground units here in the long run, as this +2 will take a long time to become relevant in the point lead for our player in red.
Yeah, the coffin launchers are going out there, and we know Suelos Kunta likes them, or Suelos Kunta likes to get a lot of value out of them. This is not a great map or great position for the coffin launchers, as their range is only 170 meters, which is it's the same range as with the AVREs. Obviously, on maps like Urban Frontlines and Hesse, those units can be just devastating, complete hard counters for infantry play. But right here, they will likely be doing halfway damage to appliques, or maybe just suppressing and stunning some of the more important units so that T-72s can start getting damage to them. Now, Malutka did fire against the rifles leader, but missed, and it will keep on firing at the strikers here as they get in range, I believe. But with this Spartan ZB298, the recon disadvantage is going to be permanently taken out. There was an SAS patrol out there, but the Spartan can move alongside the tanks, giving the vehicles actual mobility and capacity to attack.
Yeah, and we saw Bottom Feeder here making a mistake that he didn't even realize that it's a mistake. He saw the Krug firing earlier, so he thought, okay, the enemy has a radar AA, so I buy a seat. But because then Soyulos Kunta was desperately looking for his Krug, trying to turn it off, he realized it's out of ammo and sitting in the rear. So the Tornado just actually kind of reactivated the Krug now being brought forward. And killed off a limb though, and it's still having a bit of gun ammo that it used against the Mi-14 here as well. Tornado F8 AA now coming around to kill off the Mi-14s, and once the Mi-14s are down, the defensive position here of the Rügener is becoming a lot worse. One of them taking heavy damage here. Tornado, unfortunately for Soyulos, Bottom Feeder not able to kill it. The Mi-14s here still around, trying to land. As Tornado seat here still flying around. Tornado gets pushed back, so the Mi-14s do live, get a striker. At the same time though, KSK and Fagot on the other side getting shot. Warrior Pleeks here still involved. Tilled off the Conquerors in the center. Artillery coming around in the form of Abbots. And the Jaguar rocket running down the Mi-14s, getting one killed. Second one here, getting killed off by ATGM. So this defensive positioning is still in a tough spot for Soyulos Kunta.
The worst unit in the game, folks. Mi-14 PL. But yeah, the Mi-14s just if they had managed to take 1 or 2 hits there, take out either the striker or the Spartan, this momentum could have been blunted for the moment. But with all of these units still on board, as well as the air supremacy for Bottom Feeder, now the Krug operator that was waked from his daily nap by the radar alarm is now back in firing positions and does have some supply, but the Krug, of course, 35% accuracy at max range, very large reload time, and the Jaguars do have 20% ECM, so they do have some amount of defenses. The Jaguars also quite cheap, at least the rocket one.
Yeah, HE1 came through, killed off the T-72, so now there's no AT capabilities here whatsoever. We have 2 of the mine-clearing tools here set up. They could kill off a Challenger as well if it gets close enough. So they are in a decent spot. The +2 is still going on for Suyaloskunta here right now, but only 300 points ahead so far. HE Bomber coming around, and the Challenger pushing forward. The number of units on the battlefield here right now for the blue side, not amazing either. We have an SU-22 cluster coming in again. No Tornado AA right now out there. The tractor appears behind it. Might be able to get the kill against the cluster after it dropped its bombs, but it gets its kill off. Yeah, cluster bomber goes down afterwards. Gets its kills through though. MiG-23s might be able to kill off the Jaguar. Get killed off by the tractor here as well though. And no, the Jaguar does escape. So in the end, still a good engagement here for bottom feeder. Yes, he loses the Challenger, but those are replaceable. SU-22 M4 cluster is absolutely not. So one more toy taken away from Suyaloskunta that can deal with the enemy mechanized warfare, and everything in one of those going down means that the capabilities of handling the Challengers, handling the Bradleys become slimmer and slimmer, and they are already pretty low at this stage.
Yeah, coffin launcher. The Spartan managed to barely dodge the coffin launcher by chance, but it was taken out by T-55s. Once again, no recon on board here for the attackers. The defenders have a single recon unit, the one Pioneer Aufklärer Talker that almost was taken out by the Spartan just a moment ago. But that one can likely be repaired, remanned, and giving them the engagement advantage against the Challenger 2 at least. Even though Challenger with its elite veterancy right here is just gonna going around and picking every fight that the line of sight of bottom feeder allows it to.
Yeah, Abbott here now getting involved, trying to snipe the CV. The recon not able to do so. Challenger Mark 3 coming up. We have more warriors. We have more recon SAS patrols getting into the action here as well. The ZBU2s, those are pretty helpful here. They are good against infantry with their double 40mm gun. So well used there. Can help out against helicopters from time to time as well. The mine clearing tools dealing some damage to the armored rifles. For now, the +2 does continue. MiG-23 ML has to be careful here, flying pretty close to the enemy air defenses. Gets taken out, at least gets the aggro rocket, but that actually is a pretty fine trade here for the second UK. That trade is absolutely fine. Tornado AA comes around on the other side and will be able to deal with helicopters, will be able to deal with enemy SU-22s. Warrior pushing forward. Nothing around here to deal with that easily. Motschützen BTR getting pushed, and this will stop the tick in a second here. Rifle leader about to get through there, and the Challenger keeps on picking up more units. And the last remaining Mi-14 PL here gets onto the battlefield, but I don't see how that can change the outcome here, as artillery is around, air is around, warriors and Challengers are on the battlefield as well, and this is going to be tough. T-55A getting a side shot there, that's a decent start, but mine clearing tools hitting somewhere else, and the Challenger Mark II able to disengage here.
Yeah, they destroyed an armored rifle, and that's their second one here. Oh, the Mi-14 PL. Did something hit the armored rifle? No, I think that was a T-55. Yeah, I was thinking missile would have hit the infantry.
Ooh, Tornado dying too much there. Getting sniped. That's a good kill. Pioneer Aufklärer getting killed off by the Abbott finally. Strela might go down there as well. Nope, survives for now. Armored rifles pushing on, but the mine clearing tools keep sniping that position. The Assault Pioneer is going down as SAS Patrol and Pioneer still coming around. Challenger Mark III getting involved now from the north though. Gets the Motschützen. Challenger Mark II just needs to be repaired. As the Mi-14, yeah, a couple of javelins here on the front line. Could be pretty helpful right now dealing with this Mi-14 PL that gets the Challenger Mark 3 routed. Good hit there. Down to 3 hit points. MI14PL gets reloaded. And the Challenger is taken out of the equation for a long while. You don't want to rush it down, as the tornado last time around showed what's happening then. And this position here, not great for bottom feeder when it comes to the direct fights, but outside of that, I think still pretty alright, as the trades lately still fine, even with these units coming around. Oh, MI14PL actually gets the hit against the Challenger Mark III, killing it off, but it dies to the Abbot. And that's the last MI14PL, so once more trade that bottom feeder is fine with. Sure, his Challenger Mark III costs more, but now there's nothing like the MI14 on the board anymore. And that means the Challengers that come from now on out will have a lot easier time.
Yeah, the centering of the motorshoot tier are good infantry units. They're good at what they do. One of the better standard ones for 50 points. RPG 7 BL, 2 machine guns, Resolute, 8 man. But that is not a tactical position where they can really do anything here. As soon as the smoke goes down and some reinforcements arrive here, waves of warrior appliques are moving in. It's just not gonna be enough here. Time is on bottom feeder's side for the moment, and despite the Krooks performing decently enough against the aircraft, I think the late game here is bottom feeder is in a position to play slowly and to win this game. And Suojeluskunta, as you said before, has just run out of the tools. There is just not enough tank cards. The infantry cards are not enough. Not enough bombers, not enough helicopters to do the kind of stuff that you need to in changing the way the game goes 20 minutes in.
Yes. Yago HE coming in here again. +1 for Suojeluskunta as he gets a CV in there. And he still has Strellas and so on behind that. The Abbots maybe want to do a bit more there. Maybe a couple more of those would be helpful. But at the same time now, bottom feeder can pivot towards the north, as Suojeluskunta's force is pretty limited here into the southern zone. Oh, getting to go for the Krook here. Strellas in high numbers might be able to get the kill. No, Yago HE gets the Krook, gets out. That's annoying as well. Krook getting upbedded there by a SPW for the higher accuracy and slightly better aim time and so on. But Scimitar's Challengers now starting to go for the north, and once the north falls, there's no way to push back in for the Rügner Gruppierung. And that's going to be a problem, as even with a +2 take, bottom feeder would be able to bring this around. And bottom feeder still constantly threatens the south as well, which would then be a +4 after the north has fallen. So yeah, good moment here to pivot now for bottom feeder, having really put all the attention of Suojeluskunta into the south. And Yago HE comes around, kills the Aufklärer, does a good job there.
Yeah, there's still a cluster plane out there, and the cluster plane main targets are surrounded by javelins and track rapiers right now. The infantry assault pioneers are coming out en masse on both of the zones here. So even the constant smoke barrage strategy is gonna go. Oh, the cluster plane is getting shot down here. Yeah, even the constant smoke barrages won't be able to help them, because the pioneers, the assault pioneers in the close ranges will of course be able to just satchel charge the motorshoots, and the time the reinforcements up north getting taken out by a warrior applique. Yeah, this is kind of done for Suojeluskunta now. It is not Suojeluskunta. It is Rügener. This is Rügener's fault. But we have to give some responsibility for Suojeluskunta for always going back to her, despite it always going like this, you know.
Yes, like it works on maps where the front lines are a bit more complicated, like Kreide that we saw earlier. But trying to make this work on Vertigo is with divisions like Rügner, with divisions like 4th CMEC. Yeah, that's just Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, isn't it? Trying to do the same thing and expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, but also, you know, there might be more spiritual enjoyment gained from trying to fix something that is broken than doing something properly. You know, I wouldn't know. I'm a humanist, not an engineer.
There's T-55A coming, pushing forward. And Tornado still flying in the north. As we have a couple of Abbots trying to push, still putting some damage in there. Rifle leaders will make it into the south. Will stop the take together with the command leaders coming through the north. SPW getting pushed back by the warrior Bleak. So with the leader even contesting the south, it might even be more than a +2 here soon. First zone about to be captured. Next zone coming up with the commander moving through the north. Rifle leader in the south will get killed. The smoke play there is annoying. Those smoke fields from the mortars that sets up for sure. Setting up some confusion here. Bottom feeder moving through the zone a bit too quickly there, not quite capturing it. Has to move back, but 60 minutes, 50 seconds remaining here. And he still has a good bit more than the enemy here in the south. T-55 Ace sitting in the forest there. Challengers, pretty low number still. Tornado comes around here. Mi2 Urns under attack. FV432 pushing towards the north. Tornado's pushed back. Iago HE coming in, actually hunting down the Krooks again. Trying to enable the airplay. Krug does get killed off. The Strelas will get involved against the Jaguar, will get it shut down as it flies directly over them. But it's a +1 now for bottom feeder. Soon to be a +2. And I believe even that would be enough at this stage. And he still obviously has potential for more in the south. So it's a little Skunta here now who has to stop the tick again. And that's not going to be
the
easy.
strategy here, the mass smoke and walking into the mass smoke strategy is probably the best you can do at the moment. The armored rifles are going to be driving right next to T-55s, giving the Laws ability to do side shots there, and instead of them meeting the uplink and destroying them. Oh, the T-55s! Oh, just it's horrible seeing disposable launchers get such perfect shots. And meanwhile, a seaplane just tries to do something. Maybe was that like a blind strafe? Maybe. Anyways, as the smoke is moving off, the challengers and the uplinks can start firing, and the assault pioneers are also walking towards this. This attack should have just went twice as long. It stopped halfway, and so it would have required twice as many smoke launchers, twice as many tanks, maybe twice as many infantry as well.
Yeah, the Warriors and Challengers still doing a decent job here. SR-22 got stressed out there, gets shut down the next time around as the tractor appears. Have pretty decent accuracy, so if you get into range, they will hurt you. And more of them coming around. Warriors coming in for the south. Gazelle rockets will get into a good space there to shoot a lot of fire there. The CV of Cyril Skunta in the south will get overwhelmed by the assault pioneers there in the second most likely, as they drop their TNT on top of the Marine Pioneer flamethrowers, kill off the Pichota's mech leader, and the Warrior just pushing forward. Might even kill off the mine clearing tool now. No, Mordschützen get those in time. The assault pioneers might still die then here, as they are just where the two mine clearing tools want to fire. Reload still going on here as the mine clearing tools are super stressed out. But reload should reach 100% here in a second. Oh, they move away now. Tornado gets shut down there once more. But yeah, it's just so much more red. The Challenger in the north stops the Merida from getting in. Mi2 Urns, I don't think, are in a good spot either. And yes, there's an SPW now moving north, but I just can't see how it gets in whilst a leader form bottom feeder that can go through the south, I still believe has a decent chance of making it.
Yeah, the reinforcements are to the attack are not much to look at. There's going to be 3 tanks and an infantry squad. with the rocket planes here diving out and taking out the Conquerors, and it's bursted down by the Strelas and the ZPU two AA machine guns. But yeah, anyways, the smoke attack there was the last hurrah. There just is not enough mobile here to fight back. Everything else is immobile or support units.
Yeah, Warrior Oblique pushing forward, Assault Pioneers pushing forward, and we see the Mudschützen getting overwhelmed, getting smacked, because our rockets will move in, and a lot of ATGMs now flying past, pushing in, SPW, ZPUs, getting overwhelmed, getting hit hard. Satorian Aviary slowly moving in there as well, and it looks like Bottom Feeder is going to have this in a second, as there's just too much pressure here on Suyaloskunta.
Yeah, but we do appreciate it. Maybe spiritual reward for trying to do something in a more complicated, in a more challenging way. But the spiritual reward there has not been victory in WARNO League.
SAS Patrol coming up. Assault Pioneers moving forward. Milan 2 gets a good hit there. Mudschützen BTR getting overwhelmed. And there we go. GGVP. And yeah, Bottom Feeder gets a W here against Suyaloskunta. Rügner Gruppierung. Not the key division for Vertigo, turns out. And Suyaloskunta might have to go on his map pick, which I'm pretty sure Vertigo wasn't, and get it done there. So let's see what game Gunbar 2 can bring, as Bottom Feeder just a really clean play here. Like, this was what you wanted. The one big setback when the cluster bomber hit the the 3-track drop here. Sure, that was painful, but everything else was just played pretty clean. And yes, it took a bit longer thanks to that, but it was never really risk. He was never really in risk of losing the game, and played the first UK just how you are supposed to play it on the map, and got the W with that.
Yeah, it really is not possible to attack against the warrior appliques without a proper force of T-72s, and you're most likely never going to have a proper force of T-72s, so you're going to have to reinforce that and use T-55s. T-55s don't have smoke launchers, neither do the T-72s here, by the way, and so this means that you're going to have to do massed attacks because you're going to have to use smoke mortars. So this, when you're using the smoke mortars, now you're going to have to invest a lot into the T-55, a lot into the smoke mortars. You're going to have to signal your attack, and by that point, the enemy will probably have planned out decently well that your engagement is still not going to work out. Vertigo was never the right map to play Rugener. But let's see. The next map here will be Black Forest Duel, and I think that might maybe lean itself well for some wacky stuff.
Okay, well, let's go into that last map of the day, guys. Quick break, guys, and then we're gonna be back with game number 2 of Bottom Feeder versus Suyaloskunta. So here we go. Game number 2. Bottom feeder versus Skunta. And before I jump in, really quick shout out once more to the Metrorino page, guys. We have a couple more people clicking the claim code button, but let's get the price pool slightly higher. There are still 21 codes remaining. Just go to Metrorino page, linked in the chat or down below on YouTube, and just click the claim code button to add free money to the prize pool for these people to fight over that gave us all these entertaining matches. And yeah, but that's it. Let's jump in here into game number 2. As Scooter is back to the division that didn't work last time. Let's see if it works against First UK this time around with 4th ZMAC, as this is a better map for 4th ZMAC. We are on Black Forest, and yeah, First UK here once more for bottom feeder. Don't change the winning team, right? This did work out pretty fine last time around, and why shouldn't it work this time around? So yeah, big rush coming up here from the 4th ZMAC. A lot of helicopters involved. Let's see what bottom feeder can do against it, and if he can win on a bit more of a complex and more flank-orientated map like Black Forest.
Yeah, I see that despite playing First UK was and playing mech First UK, importantly, there's very little infantry here that is not also in mech. There's not even the Spetsnaz, the SAS. There's only scouts with low 80s, and the lack of Terrier's Para is justifiable. The lack of SAS patrol is kind of suspicious, I think. And because on this map specifically, having the forward deployment infantry go into Charlie, go into Alpha, go into well, not necessarily Foxtrot, but in the areas around Foxtrot, those units can be very useful in kind of guiding and helping and acting as the front line for your challengers and for your warriors. There are no AVREs going, but if those are still in the deck, they're probably going to get a lot of use out of them. The standard reinforcements for infantry for the poles are going to be in BMP1s, which are inferior in every way except price and efficiency to the warrior appliques. And the Honker Russes will be able to take Charlie basically, as well as going and dropping into the southwest corner, or not the southwest, but the southeast corner of Bravo, taking that crucial spot to make sure if the enemy is leaving Foxtrot and pushing you further. So far, I don't really know what the plan is going to be here, either of just trying to crash down onto the middle, find the enemy flank, and hope that they their units are out of position. Follow-up attacks maybe, because the Honkers are going to Charlie, to the sawmill. That means that there's going to be an open road to attack the northern point of Alpha, having a bunch of infantry, bunch of Piekota's SVDs maybe, just drive there and just hang around the place, try to block reinforcements. That's one of the things that you can do. And if you sense that your enemy is spending too much in the main attack, you might start sending backline recon units and helicopters to hurt the enemy's backline, which is not really possible on vertical.
Yeah, really wide MiG-23 MF coming in here, trying to hold the front line and shoot on any recon helicopters, protecting the own Mi-2 Euro PG. But nothing really coming up in that regard. It's the triple Tractor Pierce opener instead once more. And yeah, with not getting into any third zone here in the middle, only Charlie and Bravo. It's going to be interesting to see where Gunter actually will try to get the tick from. Like, is he going to swing towards Alpha? Is he going to swing towards Foxtrot and maybe a deep dive into Echo? Like, that would have been something that I would have expected here. Maybe like a run by south of Foxtrot towards Echo and Foxtrot. But instead, it's a pretty standard opener here from both sides. And that is an issue for ZMAC maybe in the midterm. It's a better late game division with a good bit more mechanized force than the Rügener, so it doesn't quite need to get those early advantages for then defensive play into it. Like the Rügener, it can go for toe-to-toe a bit longer than that deck, but it's still has a disadvantage in the late game fights compared to first UK.
Yeah, the Rospecialni are getting into the kind of corner entrance positions, not wanting to get themselves make themselves targets, knowing that the scimitars are very good at removing these small infantry teams, and they are the most of the value Rospecialni gain are still through their ability to act as spotters for like mech and helicopter attacks here. The track rapier front line standing right behind the warrior appliques and the tanks, that's going to be a very important one. The way that Forge Mech here would try to break through this and give some space, remove some key units to start doing infantry attacks would be by air. But with the very heavy investment of 3 track rapiers and 2 javelin LMLs, there's not a lot of space you can do here regards air. And even if you start sending your planes out there, that's just a signal for bottom feeder that they should start buying their better anti-air tab or the air tab.
Yeah, and the Javelin LML shooting down 2 helicopters there immediately, stopping helicopter aggression here from happening, really. Rospecialny getting overwhelmed as well. This got 2 A's, helpful against the infantry. So the Piotr though get towards the edge of the zone, but so far this is all calculated for bottom feeder. Honkeries pushing forward, warrior pleaks and scimitars pushing through the center. It will start to get a tick here for Solisrunta, but scimitars and warrior pleaks surely will shut down the reinforcement into the zone quite quickly. Scott 2A's here, and Honkeries getting shut down already as they get to kill 1 assault pioneers, but Scout with Law 80 here likely gonna deal with the Scott 2A's pretty easily. Shoots down 1, shoots down a second, still has 1 more round left for the last one, so all of that can be dealt with. And now the T-55 comes in. The AMS pretty strong, but not if it gets just clapped by a Milan 2. First T-55 going down already. They start the push there, but if the warrior pleaks with the Milan 2s can get the flank here, strikers can get the flank, that won't work. And oh no, another Jaguar HE bomber run. It killed 3 of the T-55's last game. Can it do it again? It looks good. Oh, they're really low. They survived this time around, but they're so low. Another T-55 bites the dust. Infantry will come in. The BMP-1s will try to come in with the flank, but so far the trades once more pretty well for bottom feeder here.
Yeah, the bottom feeder managing to doing standard defensive mech play of stationing most of your front on the west side of Bravo and south of the town. That way, the frontline units like Recon and Southern IFBs can go out there and engage at their will. But if the enemy tries to push back at them, there's always reinforcements behind them, and that also allows them to have these going against an infantry force, having all of these autocannons firing and not necessarily bringing the challengers up the front, where enemy bombers would be. You're not going to risk sending a bomber here because of a recon scimitar or something, but yes, you would for a challenger. Challengers are slow, kind of moving sniper tanks more like than. Whereas the scimitars serve the role of the actually mobile force.
Yeah, Challenger Mark II is now pushing towards Bravo. Would have expected them to go to the north first because they don't have any real support there, but they can engage the Pichota SVD as the Spartan with the exceptional optics did spot them. Scimitar coming around as well. A lot of helicopters actually coming in from bottom feeder here, realizing that the enemy AA is pretty limited. There is an OSA, which is a great helicopter killer, but not quite there on the front line right now. Assault Pioneers actually get killed off in transport. That's a bit unfortunate there for bottom feeder, but Pichotak's mech start to get smacked. The BRDM Conquerors will get overwhelmed here most likely as well, and it's all for only a +1 right now. So this situation here is a bit problematic. Gazelle Rocket coming around, Warrior Oblique pushing forward as the Saperji comes around as well.
Yeah, the armored rifles converging into the Piakota leader, getting a nice hit on the uplink, but with the helicopter